This is Zurich Airport calling for Racing Unleashed Season 2023 Beyond the Pinnacle. Today we race at Nürburgring. This is the Prologue. Ladies and gentlemen, start your simulators. Get ready for racing.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiedel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
And he is a fighter, a warrior. And look at this! Look at this!
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
Good evening and welcome to Racing Unleashed, where we go beyond the pinnacle here in 2023. I'm your host Mathew Duffin, and you may see that things look rather new here, and that's because we're in our brand new virtual studio where we've got a lot of exciting things coming up throughout the whole season, including tonight, ready for you to go. The Prologue is tonight's journey. It's the pre-season event, if you will, here at the Nürburgring before with the drivers get ready for next week for round one of the Challenger and Racer League. Here then, our new virtual studio, as you can see behind me, a lovely look over Zurich Airport in beautiful scenery, and it's fantastic to be back. It's fantastic to be here in our lovely studio. As you can see then, a fantastic view and fantastic scenery. And there's a look at our new car for this year, the new Racing Unleashed Formula Hybrid X car for this year, and a brand new livery on the car as well. And from what I've been told, a lot of drivers having to relearn this car. A few tweaks have been made to it, a bit of a different design here and there, and this now is going to make it all important for these drivers to make sure they get everything absolutely right, not just tonight, but as this season goes through. Who will take the Racer League glory? Who will take the Challenger League glory? It's the Challenger League drivers tonight that are taking to the track in the Prologue, as well as some new drivers to Racing Unleashed that we can't wait to see get out there. But our lovely, lovely car right there on display, and doesn't it look beautiful? Different colours to match the cockpits of the simulators that the drivers are in, as well as a little feature on the front wing and the wing mirrors to describe to you which racing lounge the drivers are stationed in, whether it's the one in Zurich, Munich or Madrid or in Calm itself. So the Prologue tonight, but let's take a look at the calendar. The Prologue tonight is our first event. It's the race around the Nürburgring here tonight, before we head next week to Silverstone, the home of British motorsport especially. Round 2 the Red Bull Ring, before round 3 Mugello in June. Another one in June is Imola. The Zurich Airport circuit will come up at the end of July, before a little month's break as we head to Monza in September, before Barcelona at the end of that month. Spa will be race 8, and the final race of the season will be Laguna Seca, and then the Battle for Glory once again in December at a secret location that even I don't know where that is to be yet, and I can't wait for that one to get underway. Can't wait for this season to get underway as well. Obviously a pre-season event tonight for the drivers to get ready. Last preparation for these Challenger League drivers to make sure they're the guys that are fully focused going into Silverstone next Friday evening, in which we will be bringing you all of the action live throughout every race this year. Gear up, knockout qualifying, and a race to come up, as well as a few little clips here and there to show you a bit of what we do now in Racing Unleashed. We've changed a few things. As you can see, the gear up session, I do believe, is going on behind me. You see there just behind us, we've got our brand new liveries and the drivers taking to the track already in this gear up session in what looks to be an absolutely frantic races. You saw a little lock up there going into turn 1. The drivers got to be fully prepared. These cars are new and they've got to make sure they get them right, ready for tonight's race, but more importantly in the season as well then. So, coming up in tonight's show, we have got a few things to go through, a few new things to go explain as well, a few rule changes and a few bits that we have to make sure are certain that they are working. Penalty points introduced, maybe even the fact of a push to pass, a bit like your KERS system from Formula One back in the day. But we'll get into all that a little bit later on in the programme, as well as a new feature just after the knockout qualifying, a rush hour, if you will, between me and a special guest, one of our Racing Unleashed experts, coming up in just a few moments' time, though. But first of all, let's take a look at a video then that we had done all about our new social media, trying to get it to light up and to lift up. If you want to follow us on social media, make sure you check out all of them, from Twitter to Instagram. Even if you're on the Discord, make sure you go and check out that there. And if you want to get involved in any social media things with your simulators or anything to do with racing, make sure you do send us the information on there, and we'll try and get it into you as the season goes on. Then just waiting for this to come up. The prize money though will be, let's have a look now.
These are my ladies. This is Jill. This is my lady Amy. Little Susie. Brianna. You know why we call her Brianna, right? Yeah, it's a long story. Shaniqua, Helga, Miss Kitty, Jeannie. I dream of Teresa. This is Teresa right here.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Well, I've always known about naming cars. Sebastian Vettel was good at naming his Formula One cars, but giving simulators a name, and he's got a few of his lovely ladies here as well, and they do look spectacular. And we'll get to see the drivers in them a little later on as the programme goes through then. There is our racing lounge, I do believe, in Kempthall at the moment. You see there just a few spectators watching some of the action of the Gear Up session at the moment, and it does look like they are enjoying themselves as they are fully focused on watching these drivers prepare and get ready for the racing coming up in just a few moments' time. As we pan around, you see some more fans and spectators, and there they are, the beautiful simulators that we have here at Racing Unleashed, fully prepared, motion censored and everything, from made in Maranello, Italy. So it's brilliant to see that such handcrafted things are here with us today, and it's going to be a fantastic place to get involved. If you want to head to one of our racing lounges in Zurich or Munich, Madrid or Calm itself, make sure you head out over there and get involved with Racing Unleashed, because it is a fantastic place to come and have a go. Even if you just want to have a little half an hour and experience it firsthand for yourself, they really are a lot of fun. I managed to have a go last year, and I have to say, what fantastic piece of equipment they all are. And the drivers have to be fully prepared. There's different modes on their steering wheels. You'll see the Challenger League probably use mode 2 or 3, which will give you a little less traction control, a little less ABS. If you go to that mode 4 though, that is the key one. That'll be what the Racer League drivers will be using. Mode 4, no traction control, no ABS, and a real challenge for these drivers, especially in these cockpits. You just see them moving in the background there, and you see how hard the drivers are working in their cockpits, ready to get into this race. As there is our lounge in Munich then. Not so many spectators there today, but they will be as from next week when the Racer League and the Challenger League gets going, and especially in Munich Racer League on the Saturday. Can anybody stop Michael Schmiedl from taking yet another crown this season and all that prize money for him? Someone's got to stop him, and let's see if they can do so this season. Talking of the prize money then, here it is on the far left, the Challenger League. 750 francs if you win a race. It's 3,000 Swiss francs if you win the season. For the Racer League, that's 3,500 Swiss francs for winning a race, and 15,000 for winning the season. The top 10 all get prize money through race positions, and at the end of the season, if they're in that top 10, they'll all get themselves a little bit of prize money. So a lot on stake here at Racing Unleashed in terms of prize money and in terms of opportunities then, if you are in the Challenger League, to get up into that Racer League, as we saw David Seed and Ciro Zambra last season in what was a fantastic Challenger League battle. So the drivers, 18 drivers this afternoon, will be taking to the track at the Nürburgring, and there's a lot of familiar names as well as a few newbies out there. So Yannick Pletcher, the Hayder brothers, Marcus Valverde, what can these guys do? They have a real opportunity this season to really stamp their authority and maybe look at winning races, winning that championship, as well as all the new drivers that we've got on that grid. Can they maybe interrupt a few things here? And don't forget the father and son team of the Farland boys as well then. So let's have a look at the participants then that are in the Challenger League Prologue this afternoon. Here it comes up just behind us, I do believe, as we have then Yannick Pletcher, who will be starting from P1 on that grid with Augustin Torlachi, who is this. All right, so the grid has changed from what I've got in front of me. So it will be Sylvain Proust who will be starting on pole with Overkirk on second place. Verversik will be in P3. Andreas Koch will be in P4. Michael Farland, P5, a familiar name. Schlegel will be then 6. Guzman Migueles will be P7. Thomas Herzog, P8. P9 will be Tyler Klausch as well. The bottom half of the field then will be Walter Troninger with Borges Zarzo, Marcus Valverde, Andrin Gomez Alonso, Lorenzo Hayder, Joshua Hayder, Nico Farland, Augustin Torlachi and Yannick Pletcher at the back of the pack then, leading them away. Trailing the back of the pack for the knockout qualifying, which is the same format, one guided lap where no cars can overtake, and then we've got 2 laps where they can overtake, fight for positions before that all-important end of lap 3. The 4th lap of this qualifying is where 2 drivers will start to be eliminated, and that is where it starts to get a little fun as we go through the knockout qualifying to set the grid. Here is Borges Zarzo then, live from Madrid, and he is live, I believe, streaming his point of view this afternoon and this evening on his own personal channel, and he is trying something new out this season, and Borges Zarzo there with his colleagues next to him making sure that he's doing a good job. You see he's very chatty at the moment, and he's making sure that his viewers are aware of what the challenges are, and look how hard he's working in the cockpit. Just goes to show that it isn't all easy in them cockpits. He's got to fully concentrate and fully work hard on what he is doing there then. And you see just adjusting maybe the strength of his seatbelts, the tightness of his seatbelts there as he makes a few adjustments just before the knockout qualifying session. The drivers obviously getting ready for that. It's all important. The new cars, from what we hear, are a little looser, a little more twitchy. They don't like to be thrown around as much as they did last season. So drivers got to be careful of this as they come up in the gear up in the knockout qualifying session and the race itself then. So his gear up will be coming towards an end. We get ready, the drivers get ready for their qualifying. And let's have a quick look at Borges Zarzo. We can listen in as well. He's fully concentrated in his cockpit. And we don't get to listen in to Borges Zarzo. We've just lost the picture there. It's back. Hopefully we can listen into Borges Zarzo in just a moment then, as he's ending his gear up session. Hopefully he's sat at the top of the leaderboards, because that'll be where he wants to be today. He'll want to have that outright pace and make sure that he can make his way through the field and make his way onto pole position for the race later on. As there is the cars going through, that will be Borges Zarzo's car you see there on the track. The orange and blue of the Racing Unleashed livery. And here is Borges Zarzo. We can just listen in now. So the leaderboards there, Joshua Hayder is currently the fastest driver on track, with Yannick Pletcher in second place. Nico Farland is third at the moment, as well as a few other drivers. Now, one of our drivers today, Augustin Torlachi, is from Argentina, so he's made his way all the way out here, and he's going to give it a good go to. He's currently sat P4 with Lorenzo Hayder P5, as you see Borges Zarzo there just up the inside of one of our other cars. A lot of drivers you see locking up a little bit there, just kicking up that smoke. And it's interesting to see these guys go through. Now, if you're wondering what the little number 5 next to their lap times mean, well, brand new for this year, this is then the push to pass. So when that lights up red, the drivers have activated their push to pass, and they get 5 opportunities to use it. It will last for 5 seconds. So drivers get 5 opportunities to use the push to pass. Believe this is only in the race. They are not allowed to use it in qualifying, so it will be as fair as possible. It's in the race only. only. And the push to pass, a real opportunity now for drivers to overtake or to defend or to just maybe extend their gap. Here is Joshua Hader with his onboard camera from Zurich then. And you just see the little light green wing mirrors there just underneath the halo of Joshua Hader. That showing that he is in the Zurich Racing Lounge then, and each car has its own colour, which obviously we'll get into next time out. I think we're going to get a little bit together to explain about them. But each car has their own colour. The light green under Joshua Hader's halo then is for the lounge in Zurich. And he is a dedicated man. The Hader brothers, watch out for them too this season. Dedicated and passionate about their racing. And I'm sure they're going to give it everything they've got. Look at the determination on his face there. Sort of just puffing his bottom lip out, making sure that he can get as much in out of the car as possible. And all drivers fully focused, not even blinking, look, as they're determined to get this gear up session absolutely right and spot on. Obviously 10 simulators down in Kemptall. I believe 9 of them are in use today. As Joshua Hader, his brother then, currently second fastest man out on the circuit, a 10th off the back of the pace of Yannick Pletcher, who's now taken that P1 spot here in knockout with 4.5 minutes left to go. And just a few drivers locking up here, and these new cars, like I say, a bit challenging. So we got a kick of smoke up out the back of that car as well. Nico Farlad goes to second, and Joshua Hader retakes that position. So the gap coming down half a tenth, 0.05 of a second from Joshua Hader to the leader. So it's just proving how close it is, with the top 7 separated by just under 0.8 of a second. There is Yannick Pletcher in Zurich as well. Fans in the background, and in his Aston Martin coloured Racing Unleashed cockpit down into turn 1, and he just extended that gap a little bit with the looks of things there, and fully focused, fully getting through. You hear him there now, just being a little more careful on the power there coming through these parts of the corners. They can't lift off as much and get the power down as quick as they like without the car rear end sort of stepping out. So Yannick Pletcher there just clearly trying to learn the car. He drifted a little wide, and this is something that we have to get right into the knockout qualifying and the race. As Yannick Pletcher then coming in towards the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. Joshua Hader's gone within 0.07 of a second of Yannick Pletcher then, and Augustin Tolashi then is within 1/10 of Yannick Pletcher, so really putting the pressure on up front in this gear up session. Obviously the fastest lap times doesn't mean anything for knockout qualifying. It is all about consistency and getting past the drivers as they come through the field. Gear up coming towards an end then, and the drivers will be able to get out the cockpit and have a quick stretch, maybe take on a few fluids, a bit of refreshments before they get back in it for the knockout session. 2 minutes 48 seconds left, and Yannick Pletcher rounds the final corner. Down the start line he comes, and does he improve his time? He does improve his time and manages to put 1.5 tenths between himself and Joshua Hader yet again, and that is fantastic for him to see then as he's coming through turn 1. Few drivers up and down the grid, 18 drivers on track tonight, and that is going to be the key thing, is 18 drivers. Yannick Pletcher wide there, Marcus Valverde. You see the yellow underneath his halo, the yellow for Madrid, green for Zurich, and Marcus Valverde in such a fitting way is sporting the yellow headband as always. To match his wing mirrors there is Joshua Hader, and he is going to be a man who's another passionate driver. Both the Hader brothers are very passionate and very determined to get the best result. Lorenzo Hader, apologies, to get the best result out of it. And this man got a podium in the Racer League last season. He's going to be looking for that Challenger League fighter to make sure he can get his best result as possible. Only P6 at the moment on outright pace, but obviously the drivers getting used to the push to pass and getting used to the way the new cars feel. He's through the hairpin there, carries a bit of speed, and there you just see on exit, just as he got the power down on the exit of the corner, he has a bit of a slide and a bit of a snap on the corner exit. Beautiful through the S's there then. And Lorenzo Hader currently down 2.5 tenths on the time at the moment. and he's going to want to make sure that he can get the best out of it. Nico Farland, another man who's hoping to be at the front of the grid, and you see the pink wing mirrors there. Not only is it the wing mirrors on the front wing that have a bit of colour on the side of them, it's also the drivers' helmets that indicate what lounge they're from. So we've got the pink for Munich, there, the yellow for Madrid, Com is the red, and Zurich is green. There is Nico Farland, son of Michael Farland, on the grid. The Farland boys normally have good backing in the background and good support with them. And through the right-handed hairpin up towards the S's tricky corner. As you come through, you've got to take as much speed as possible. He does that with ease. And into this final sector for him, currently 3 and a bit tenths down. That was a little wider than what he wanted to have been. Track limits obviously a thing this season as well that drivers have got to make sure they watch out for. Don't want to run the risk of taking track limits here. Then there's the Munich lounge, and you see a couple of drivers in the cockpits as well as a few spectators. I think there was one of the drivers down the bottom end of the screen. Nico Farland then into the final corner. Yannick Pletcher, he's down on his time at the moment. Into this final, there we go, there the back end just wanted to kick out on him there as he had a little early on the power, a bit too aggressive. Got to drive this car a little more carefully now than last season. It can't just be thrown into corners and thrown around all the circuit as they come through. That though is the gear up session done. The timer has come to 0, so the drivers will take to the line and take the checkered flag for gear up then, and that was the session over. And Yannick Pletcher setting the pace, but he's got to come from the back of the pack in knockout qualifying, let's not forget, to make sure that he can make his way to that front of the grid. He's really got to be on a charge here, but with that pace, that'll give him some hope and a bit of promise that he can get through the pack as clear as with a lot of ease as possible as well. He's got a lot of work to do in this knockout qualifying, and obviously the real challenge is next week in the Racer League and the Challenge League, the start of the season next week for the drivers, in what will be a fantastic opportunity for them to earn themselves a bit of prize money, to take as many points as possible going into the season. It's going to be absolutely key that drivers get everything right in this championship this year. The new track of Laguna Seca coming up later in the year, that's going to be a fantastic challenge that I'm looking forward to see as well. So Silverstone, the location for next week. Nürburgring, the location for tonight. And this, an opportunity for the drivers to stamp their authority really in this Challenger League, and to make sure that they can see and tell their competitors, look, you know, I'm not going to be pushed over this season. We're going to work hard for it. It's going to be a good fight. The push to pass, let's see how aggressive this is in terms of defending and attacking. And it's going to be a fantastic season, no doubt, as that gear up session comes to an end then, and we get ready to go for the knockout qualifying session a little later on then, as we get into plenty of things. The new tracks that's coming, the new car that you've just seen out there, the new track obviously being Laguna Seca, and the new penalties that are coming into Racing Unleashed this year, and a real opportunity and a real chance to prove that Racing Unleashed is moving in the right direction, and the stewards and race controller obviously making sure that they are monitoring everything and giving the correct decisions. As always, we saw race control last season was very busy at times with decisions they had to give out. A penalty point system has been brought in place for this. The penalty points will not count for the Prologue, just want to make that one clear. They come in as from race 1 at Silverstone next week, but drivers can get penalty points in both knockout and in the race itself after the qualifying session. But the other thing for the drivers is they have the opportunity that if they have a clean knockout and a clean race, they can remove some penalty points. It's 20 penalty points for a ban, a qualifying ban for that knockout qualifying session, but they can remove points. There then is the qualifying knockout then, the mode that we use. It is 1 lap, no overtaking behind the safety car. Before laps 2 and 3 are guarded laps, we like to call them. That is where the drivers can race each other at will and at free, and they can overtake as much as they want, because they need to do it, because at the end of lap 4 we get to the elimination laps, where the bottom 2 drivers are at risk of being eliminated at the end of the lap until we get to that final pairing, and we get set for pole position. It's going to be key. It's going to be brilliant. If you're new to Racing Unleashed and didn't see it last year, it was fantastic, and it brought so much excitement across the grid. I'm sure the drivers enjoyed it as well as us bringing the action to you, and I hope you fans enjoyed it at home as well. The action was fast and frantic, and it will be a little later on. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to get through as we get into that one in just a moment's time. Then the drivers preparing themselves, getting themselves ready. We're in our brand new studio, like we said, fully interactive. You've got the screen behind us here. You've got the full use of what you can see. Fantastic from Racing Unleashed to bring these pictures to you here in the Zurich Airport Tower. Obviously, Zurich Airport, you see just out the window, just behind my shoulder. And it's fantastic to see here. We get to see so many new things this season, so many graphics, and the 2023 season begins with the prologue tonight. We cannot wait to get this one started then. So, Sylvain Proust will be bringing you pole position here for that knockout qualifying, and it's going to be fantastic to see. As well as our new programme just after knockout qualifying, the Rush Hour programme. Stay tuned for that, where we have a Racing Unleashed expert with us to talk us through the knockout qualifying and to talk us through some other bits as well. Here's the starting grid then for today's knockout qualifying. Then, so it will be Sylvain Proust that will start on pole with Matthias Overkirk in P2. Michael Verversik, apologies, in P3. Andreas Koch will be in P4. Michael Farland, P5. Fabio Schlegel in P6. Guzman Migueles, P7. Thomas Herzog, P8. And Tyler Klausch rounding out the top 9. The bottom 9 then. Walter Troninger is in P10. Borges Zarzo, P11. Marcus Valverde, P12. Adrian Gomez Alonso, P13. Lorenzo Hayder, P14. Joshua Hayder, P15. Nico Farland, P16. Augustin Tolashi in P17, and Yannick Pletcher rounding out the top 18 then. That is the starting grid. Obviously the safety car will be at the front of the pack to take them away for their first lap, and it's going to be fantastic to see. Obviously, a lot of drivers you saw locking up in that gear up session, so they've got to make sure no errors occur in this qualifying session that is coming up. And as I said a moment ago, if you're new to Racing Unleashed and missed the knockout qualifying, you are in for an absolute treat, because it is a fantastic format. A chance to give the guys, obviously it's normally reverse championship order after the first race weekend. It's a chance to give the guys at the back of the championship the opportunity to start on pole position, and it works fantastically well. And there, once again, look, the graphic just to show you how we do it. The lineup, first lap behind the safety car, no overtaking. The guarded laps 2 and 3, where overtaking is allowed. Elimination is lap 4 at the end, and that will be where we lose 2 drivers at the end of every lap. So that is how we do it, and the drivers will be getting ready for that. The new drivers obviously have got to face this for the first time. The experienced drivers who was here with us last year will be used to this format, so can they use that to their advantage? Well, let's find out in just a moment, where the drivers will be lining up on this Nürburgring grid, and a fantastic grid it is. As you see just behind me now, the Mercedes AMG GT3 safety car, they're ready to take the drivers away for the first time in what is the start of the season, the pre-season event here before round 1 at Silverstone. Drivers lining up on the grid. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see what these drivers can do. They've got so much opportunity here today to make sure they can get as many positions as possible as we await the start of this session. And what a fantastic session it could be. What a fantastic chance for these drivers to get some early progression in the bag and some early laps in the bag ready for Silverstone next week, where it's really going to count. The Prologue, obviously a bit of a pre-season event, a bit of fun for these drivers to make sure that they are ready for the season to go. Challenger League only next Friday and Saturday, don't forget. A week's time, the Challenger and the Racer League will be live with Silverstone, in which we'll bring you all coverage of both days live here at Racing Unleashed. So then, the drivers will be probably getting in their simulators right now, getting ready for the start of this session. And the safety car is about to take them away as the red lights are on. And it is green. The safety car leads them away now for the start of this knockout qualifying session then. So this is the formation lap in which the safety car is the car to lead the pack away. They've got the chance to get some brake temperature, some tyre temperature here, and make sure that they do not overtake each other. That is the most important thing for these drivers to do. So the safety car will be leading us away, or will be leading Preuss away here. The push to pass cannot be used, don't forget, in this first session. It is only for the race. So the safety car taking us through. And I tell you what, there, Overkirk really wanting to get a move on here. He's really getting some tyre and brake temperature up. You see him starting a little bit, coming alongside Sylvain Preuss as he goes, and really making sure his brakes and tyres are up to temperature. As a safety car driver, I've just been told his name is Cyril. So he's got the honour of driving the safety car for us today. And what a chance it is for him to drive this Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 car around this fantastic Nürburgring circuit. And there he is, doing a fantastic job at the moment, as you see the drivers in the background just starting to warm the tyres up a little bit. And there, once again, goes Overkirk ahead of Preuss to take that position, and has to tuck back in behind. He's really, wants to get the start of this race underway here, and really wants to make sure that these tyres and brakes are fully working as we go into this one, side by side pretty much, as they're coming down the hill towards the final sort of stretch and chicane. Obviously the drivers can't use their push to pass in qualifying, and now Sylvain Preuss trying to overtake the safety car here, as he's wanting the safety car to get a move on. Obviously the start of the qualifying then, we lose 2 drivers at the end of lap 3, so lap 4 is the key for these boys to make sure they get a fantastic launch and a fantastic getaway. The safety car will peel into the pits, and it will be Preuss to take us away. I think he was going to follow him into the pit lane there, so he is now the safety car until the racing line. And he's gone straight out the final corner then. So we are away here for the qualifying session. The 2 guarded laps now, where drivers are free to overtake as they please and make up as many positions as possible. You already see drivers making up positions as the safety car pulls into the pits. That was a lock-up from Preuss into the first corner there, and again into turn 2, just locking the front wheels. And that is not going to be what he wants. Drivers already starting to make positions up. Marcus Valverde and Lorenzo Hyder up a couple of positions already. It's a good start out front. He's already got a 9/10 of a second gap at the front of this pack then, and this crucial to make sure that at the end of this knockout qualifying session he's still there for P1, as Joshua Hader, as we say that, he's gone deep coming down towards the hairpin. He's got to make sure he rejoins safely and where it is safe to do so, but that is the end then of Sylvain Preuss. That is his pole position gone. He's got to fight through from the back of the pack. He's got 2 laps here to make sure he can get his way back up into at least 16th position. And a little error there, and this is what the drivers have got to face. Sylvain Preuss here. Oh, there was a driver that he narrowly misses. Who was that one? Not quite sure. I think it was Gomez Alonso, I do believe, who we've just had go around. Yannick Pletcher at the back as well, so he's not had the best of start as he just makes his way past Schlegel. So Yannick Pletcher got to get a move on with this. He's clearly had a mistake somewhere, and he's had a moment. He's very, very wide there, and the car wants to snap on him. Got to be careful, Yannick. Calm that car down. You've got to make sure you've got the pace, but you've got to get through to the front of the pack. He's still looks calm with his face. Look, he's nice and calm. I remember bringing him. Oh, there, look at that. Just made it through the car in front that was a little slow through the chicane. Joshua Hader then, he is up in P7 at the moment, and he has just made his way past Marcus Valverde. Can head after Borja Zarzo now. So down towards turn 1. Here is Walter Troninger in Munich. And I believe Sebastian Hirsch in the background. Great to see Sebastian back with us here at Racing Unleashed. And Troninger then, what can he do as he's coming through the middle section of the lap? Currently running in P4 at the moment, so this will be a good debut qualifying for him. We've done our first of our 2 guarded laps. This is the second of the guarded lap. And Yannick Pletcher has work to do. He's managed to clear the car behind and pull away. He's now got Gomez Alonso just in front, that he's 2 seconds to catch him, and he's got the rest of this lap, and that is a car round. That, I believe, is Tolashi. Then our Argentinian driver, and another one there through the S's backwards. Oh, and spinning onto the track and across the road. How has Yannick Pletcher managed to avoid that one? He's done fantastic there. Gomez Alonso makes up a few more places. That was Sylvain Proust and Nico Forland. So one of the front runners, really, you'd have to say, for this Challenger League, at the back of the pack just as they're about to start their 4th lap. And this is the lap that really counts. Yannick Pletcher locking up the rear wheels into the chicane, but he's now out of that danger zone and can head after Thomas Herzog and start to move forward. Nico Forland there, clearly involved in an incident and unhappy with that. Got a stern look on his face to get back through the pack and make his way forward. Yannick Pletcher then can see a gaggle of cars just in front of him as he makes his way towards them. 2 in front, just side by side. That is Herzog then. And Vaversky, I do believe, side by side. Joshua Hayden out into the middle sector. Down in P9 P6 is Joshua Hayden. Lorenzo, his brother, down in P9. And he's on the back of Borges Zarzo then. He's got a couple of cars he can see in front of him to maybe get himself on the front row of this grid. Just to say, by the way, Overkirk here, he's got a 1.5 second lead out front, so he's really pulled the gap out front. Lorenzo Hayden. Passionate young man. Good through the S's. He's got a bit of time to catch on the back of Guzman Migueles then. But he's plenty of laps for him to get onto the back of him. Nico Forland, 0.7 of a second off the back of Sylvain Proust then for the last 2, and the first 2 to be knocked out is Joshua Hayden right on the back of Borges Zarzo, and a good gaggle of cars here. Overkirk has been caught up quite rapidly by these drivers, as Joshua Hayden was looking to the outside of Borges Zarzo, so we'll see if that one stuck as Marcus Valverde does the fastest lap of the race. Nico Forland has got past Sylvain Proust, but that's going to be it for Nico Forland then. He is going to find himself starting down the order in 17th position with Sylvain Proust, who started at the front. He's going to be starting at the back for the race, obviously before the race control gets to take a look at it. So we lose Sylvain Proust in 18th place and Nico Forland 17th for him. So that is that done for them two in this session. Look at this gaggle of cars. Borges Zarzo up to P3. He's got himself ahead of Marcus Valverde, who did the fastest lap a moment ago. And Joshua Hayden just behind. And Borges Zarzo, you see there, very, very chatty. He's bringing you his point of view to his own Twitch stream and his own Twitch channel. So he'll be chatting to his audience and his viewers, and currently he's putting on a fantastic show for them. He's sat P3 at this moment in time. Marcus Valverde, you see they're just losing out through the S's into the final sector of this lap. The 2 drivers at risk though at the moment are Fabio Schlegel and Thomas Herzog at the back of this pack. They are not far off the back of a few cars in front of them. There is quite a few that are just ahead. They can make a couple of positions. Valverde having a cheeky little look there on Borges Zarzo into the final chicane, and that one doesn't take the sniff of an opportunity to go up the inside there. Borges Zarzo then just running a little wider than he'd possibly wanted to. Didn't get the run out the final corner. You see just in front, look, that is Tyler Klausch attacking Overkirk into turn 1. But here is Thomas Herzog, and we have, sadly, he didn't make up the positions, did he? I think he did, you know. Yes, I believe we're going to lose Michael Forland, who will be 16th place there, I do believe, at the end of that one. And we also lose Thomas Herzog there, still going. Oh, he pulls to the side now. So do we lose Michael Forland? I thought he got ahead of Michael Forland. So no. They have decided Thomas Herzog will be P16 here. So it's Thomas Herzog that will get that position on the starting grid. And it was Fabio Schlegel who will be 15th place as well. So not the opener he'd have wanted. Borges Zarzo though, not sure what's happened out from here. Overkirk's dropped down to P8. Borges Zarzo leads this knockout qualifying, a sprint race if you will here, from Joshua Hayden. So Where's Valverde? He's dropped down to P6, so a change up front, but they're separated, the top 6, by about 2 seconds. They're all queuing up behind Borja Zarzo at the minute for this qualifying. Drivers at risk at the end of this lap then is Michael Farland, as we see there, Borja Zarzo. And he's chatting away with his fans next to him. And you hear him there just in the background, just chatting to his viewers on his stream as well then. So it's great to see that. But it is Michael Wawerski who is going to be P14 in this one. Nowhere near the back of Michael Farland, so he will line up as well. He'll be eliminated in P13 place. But for Wawerski, P14, Farland will be P13. So Wawerski then, job to do in the race. Right, Koch has just got past Torlachi then for 12th place. Farland, shake of the head, disappointed with that one, not clearly happy with that there. So something obviously happened as the race has gone on. Joshua Hayder's now taking the lead from Borja Zarzo here, and he's got a bit of a gap here, put a bit of daylight between the pair of them, and it's Guzman Migueles P3, Lorenzo Hayder now up to 4th place on the back. So it's 4 for the lead here, with a Hayder brother at the beginning of the pack and a Hayder brother at the end of the pack, and it's Lorenzo Hayder, who I'm sure would rather be in his brother's position at the moment. But P4, could we have an all-brother front row lockout? That'd be fantastic to see here. As down the hill they come back uphill in just a moment. Borja Zarzo P2. All into the chicane. You just see the lockups just not as bad now, and the drivers starting to get used to it. Tyler Clausch and Marcus Valverde gaining on these cars in front as well. So they're coming into this pack. As you see on the left-hand side of the screen is Gomez Alonso, who is down in that 12th position. And that's going to be his race over and done with. As it is for Koch, the driver in front. So that's going to be 11th place for him on the grid. Obviously, this is all a preliminary result until we get the final classification. Sorry, it wasn't Gomez Alonso, it was Torlachi, sorry, their apologies, in 12th place. So the drivers coming towards the end of that. Borja Zarzo's put some daylight between himself and Guzman Migueles. Joshua Hayder as well, keeping that gap to Borja Zarzo at the moment. And then it's Migueles 3rd, Lorenzo Hayder's P4, Marcus Valverde's in 5th, with Tyler Clausch 6th. So end of lap 8. Hayder leads. The drivers at risk now is Gomez Alonso, and is that of Overkirk. And if you ask me, I think these two are coming to the end, because Overkirk 5 seconds nearly off the back of Yannick Pletcher, who's trying to get himself involved in this battle with Walter Truninger. There is Gomez Alonso in Madrid. Oh, maybe an extra position for Gomez Alonso here at the final corner. Is he going to have a look? Defended by Overkirk. Can he get the better run out down towards the line? No, doesn't look like it's going to be. So it's going to be Overkirk who's going to come across the line and start P9. It's going to be Gomez Alonso who'll be lining up provisionally in P10. And that is a shame there for him. Right, Yannick Pletcher and Truninger battling it out now. 4 seconds. Truninger is behind Tyler Clausch, so Pletcher's got to get past him and has got to get his skates on in this lap. Something tells me that 3.9 seconds is probably a little bit out of reach for Yannick Pletcher. He had that mistake early on that's possibly put him to the back of this pack, or sorry, to the middle of this pack, if you will. P8 though, great start from him. He's gained 10 places in this knockout qualifying. Pulls out, has a little look, late on the brakes. Jeez, how's he got that one stopped as he comes into the hairpin? Gets such a good run through as well. And this for Yannick Pletcher through the S's. He's just got so much more momentum and speed. But is he just pushing it a little too hard? A bit of a mistake or wiggle there through the S's. Really extending this track, making sure that he's getting the full width for the circuit used. Lorenzo Hayder's up to P3. He's got past Guzman Migueles, and now defends from Guzman Migueles and Marcus Valverde in the background. A collision here could put Yannick Pletcher through into that next lap, but it will not, because they're all through the final corner. And Yannick Pletcher and Truninger will be eliminated from this session, but Lorenzo Hayder now into P3, Joshua Hayder P1, and this a fantastic display from the Hayder brothers, proving why they're possibly going to be challengers in this Challenger League. Yannick Pletcher then, we do lose for P8, and that'll be a shame for him. He'll be disappointed with that one. Clearly felt that there was more to get out of it, and Walter Truninger there then in P7. The two we look at now then is Marcus Valverde P5 and Tyler Klausch P6, but it is a heck of a battle for this top 3 position. Here is Valverde in P5. He's got Guzman Migueles just in front. He's got Lorenzo Hayder just in front of him. And just to say that Borges Arzo has absolutely checked out from the top 2 have checked out from the rest of this pack. Joshua Hayder has 2 seconds over Borges Arzo, and Borges Arzo some 4 seconds to Lorenzo Hayder. So it is doable for Lorenzo maybe to catch him, but he's got to start to close that gap now. Joshua Hayder clearly having the best pace, and Valverde very wide towards the final sector as he tries to hunt down Guzman Migueles here. That's really going to put him off and distract him. Here comes Tyler Klausch towards the outside. Doesn't get the move done. He looks to back off and tuck back into the slipstream. A good run through the chicane and into the final corner is absolutely essential and vital for Tyler Klausch. Otherwise, that will be the end of his qualifying. I've got a feeling it is. He's too far back at the moment, so Tyler Klausch is going to find himself lining up P6 for him, and for Marcus Valverde a P5. Good start for them two then, and it is the front runners from last year that we're seeing now. Sorry, it was the mid runners from last season that we're seeing come to the front and really fight. Right then, Guzman Migueles, you versus Lorenzo Hayder. 1.9 seconds is the gap, so you've got some work to do if you're going to catch the back of Lorenzo. That gap's opened up to 2.1 just there. Runs a little over the track limits, does Guzman Migueles, and really finding himself struggling through that first sector. Back downhill we come. A tricky left-right section here. Got to get this one right because the run to the hairpin's important. I feel that he's lost even more time to Lorenzo Hayder here, and I think this could be the end of Guzman Migueles. Lorenzo Hayder 3.1 off the back of Borges Arzo. I've got a feeling this top 4 is the way the top 4 is going to look in terms of the race then, because Migueles 2.5 seconds now behind Lorenzo Hayder. That is going to be him done. Don't forget these results are all provisional. And Lorenzo Hayder, not quite the front row start he maybe would have wanted here to line up alongside his brother, but it's P3 and he lands up right behind his brother then on the grid, so he can be absolutely fantastic and ecstatic with that one. Very pleased will the Hayder brothers be, no doubt, and we'll see their emotions on camera, no doubt as well, because they're very, very emotional drivers and really wear their heart on their sleeve. We lose Lorenzo Hayder for P3, we lose Guzman Migueles for P4. It's now the battle for pole position. I have a feeling this is done. It's going to take a mistake from Joshua Hayder for Borges Arzo to take pole position here. 3.5 seconds is the gap, and Joshua Hayder at the moment is the man to really watch. He's absolutely flying. He's been fantastic in this session. Borges Arzo can't even see him. He's that far in the distance here at the Nürburgring, and this is absolutely fantastic for Joshua Hayder. The start he would have absolutely wanted in his championship run. Obviously the championship starts next week at Silverstone. There you see our new Racer League driver, our Challenger League driver on the right hand side of your screen, Ciro Zambra, and Lorenzo Hayder just hand in head. Maybe he felt like he could have got a top 3 there. Joshua Hayder down into the final sector, flat out for this final part. He's now up the gap to 4 seconds over Borges Arzo. It's a matter of when he crosses the line for Joshua Hayder. Borges Arzo gave it everything he got, just didn't have the pace towards the end of this knockout qualifying session. And Joshua Hayder then, you're about to see some emotions here. What a drive this has been in knockout qualifying. Joshua Hayder is going to be on provisional pole position for the race coming up later on. What a job he has just done. And Borges Arzo, fantastic result for him. He then will line up P2. Just say Joshua Hayder come from 14th on the grid to make his way up through the pack. So an absolutely fantastic job there from Joshua Hayder. I don't think he quite realised finalises it yet, but he is the man who will be on provisional pole then for the race a little later on. What a knockout session that was. It had the drama, it had the thrills and spills, and it had some great overtakes. Great battle up front as well for the drivers that Joshua Hader just took off and dominated in that final part. As for Borgesazzo, he can be pleased with a P2. He come all the way back from 12th to get P2, so he gained 10 places himself, but other drivers obviously will be a little disappointed with their work. There then is race control. You see they're already busy, the three stewards. And you'll see a recognisable face sat in the middle. Roger Mort, the man in the middle, new to the race control section this season. Obviously, he's given up the cockpit and he's come to make some decisions. And he's definitely going to be making sure that the right decisions are made. No confirmation at the minute for the top three. So it is provisionally Joshua Hader on pole with Borgesazzo second and Lorenzo Hader P3. So it's going to be interesting to see what these boys have got here, what the race control are looking at, and they are obviously going to bring us a decision as quick as possible to give you a fully classified race grid. But what a knockout qualifying session that was then. A few incidents we saw, Yannick Pletcher not making the progress he'd have possibly wanted to, and a few of the newbies, a few of the debutants, and making a lot of good progression and making sure that they get through the field and get as good a position to start in as possible. And it was fantastic to see such a competitive grid out there. A few incidents, which I'm sure race control are just going through, and it's going to be an interesting one to just make sure everything is correct and above board. And Joshua Hader getting a high five there, I believe, from Ciro Zambra in the background. Still in his cockpit and getting a high five from one of his colleagues there in Kemptol. And Joshua then, you see his brother Lorenzo in the background, talking with the fans.
So hot here.
Brothers.
Thanks.
The team, more high fives going off here. All provisional at the minute. I think that's what Joshua's just told his good friend there. All provisional at the moment. He doesn't know. And being told Joshua's talking to us. We can't hear Joshua at this moment in time.
Can hear you.
We cannot hear him.
Good.
Hopefully we get Joshua in so that we are able to hear him and see what is being said. I'd love to have a fantastic conversation with him. Obviously on a fantastic pole position at the moment. We are going to just try and get Joshua in with us then. We are having a few technical problems at the moment, so we will get Joshua in, so just please bear with us for this one then. But what a session he had, what a session for his brother as well, Borgesazzo. He'll be very pleased with that one. I'm just going to undo the seatbelt. I presume he's going to take some fluids on board for this race, because it's very tiring, these cockpits, these simulators, very, very strenuous and tiring at the moment, so he's going to be absolutely worn out. And hopefully he'll be fighting fit and ready to go in the race. I believe we have Joshua Hader with us now. Joshua, can you hear us?
Can hear you.
Yep, okay. Yep, we got
can
Joshua.
You hear me?
Joshua. Yeah, we've got you loud and clear.
Okay. The pole is safe.
Talk us through that pole position, because that was brilliant.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It was a very tough race, I mean. A bit strange at the beginning of the race because very much traffic, but I had a bit luck with the other guys who have spin. No.
Yeah. Was it a shame? Was it a shame that you couldn't get your brother on the front row as well? It would have been good to have the Hader brothers 1 and 2.
It would be better, but I think he's third, or what?
Yes, third.
On which position is my brother? Oh,
P3
nice.
at the moment.
It would be better if he were P2, but I think we have a long race ahead, and we will see.
And this is a real good way to kickstart the season, obviously going into Silverstone.
Well, it's a shame that it's not the official race, but I think I am happy that finally the season begins, and don't care if race is official or not. I love it to race here, and I'm back. We are back, and I'm happy with you together, Racing Unleashed.
Brilliant to see you back, Joshua. Congratulations, and we'll let you get some fluids on board and get ready for the race.
I'm ready.
He's ready to go. We'll be ready to go shortly as well. It's fantastic to see Joshua Hader do so well and get his pole position. Yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was great to see that he could get pole position, and hopefully he can get into that second pot as he's climbing out the cockpit. Look how difficult it is for the drivers to get in and out. Yeah, hot and sweaty in there. He's happy with that one. A big smile on his face and a thumbs up. He is ecstatic with that. And these boys, they wear their hearts on their sleeves. And it really is great to see the Hader brothers fully focused and ready to go in this one. He's ready to race now. He'd go again if he could. With the sounds of what we heard in the interview there, Joshua Hader, the man on pole position, with Borgesazzo second place. Again, provisional result at the moment. Nothing has been confirmed yet. Race control are still checking everything. Over there is the racing lounge at Kemp Toll. And big smiles all around there from everybody. Yannick Pletcher over to congratulate him. And Yannick, he would have obviously been hoping for a bit of a better result himself. But Joshua, very, very happy and ready to go. Thumbs up from him. He's happy with this one. All his fans and friends there, all very happy. Team merch on display as well. So he's happy with that one. We look to get going in the race a little later on, as we still just to wait to hear the full confirmation of the grid. We'll bring that to you a little later on in the programme. But what a knockout qualifying session that was. Thrills, spills, a few incidents here and there, a few things to talk about and a few things to discuss as we come into rush hour in just a moment with our special guest, our Racing Unleashed expert. But there is Racing Control. And what a job they've got at the moment. They've really got to make sure they get this decision right. Obviously, this is the start of what is a very long period for these guys, and this is going to continue out throughout the season. Everybody making sure that every angle is looked at, every incident is looked at, and every decision is the correct one for us, so that we can give you as fair a grid as possible. And the drivers obviously have the chance to make sure that they are where they should be on the grid. And we are ready to look like to get going with the brand new segment of Racing Unleashed, the Rush Hour segment. And this is where we get to chat a little bit with one of our Racing Unleashed experts about the fun knockout qualifying that we've seen in anything motorsport that happens. So that's coming up in just a moment time as there you see Yannick Pletcher talking with Ciro Zambra, maybe discussing what could have been for him in this session. Just chatting with a few of the fans as well. A lot of people stood there watching, maybe asking questions about these simulators. If you want to check out the simulators, make sure you head over to our social media and get in touch with us live on Instagram, Twitter, Discord. Get involved here, even if it's just for a 30-minute session, to be involved with this Racing Unleashed and these brilliant simulators that we see before us. Yannick Pletcher, not sure whether to give us a thumbs up or what there. He's not sure how he feels at the moment. I'm sure he'll be giving us his best shot in the race then. Race control, still making sure every decision is the correct one and still making sure that everything is good to go. And they are making sure that everything is above board as it stands at the moment. Tough job. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes at the moment. Roger Mort as well coming into this one, obviously stepping out the simulator, coming into this one, making sure that he is the man to push this forward and to make sure every decision is fair. And the thing I like about that is it's an ex-driver from Racing Unleashed. It's now come to give his opinion and to make sure that his voice can be heard, and maybe on incidents that was missed or not the correct decision last season, he's got the chance to prove it right here. The prize money, though, for the Challenger League next week at Silverstone. First place gets you 750 Swiss francs all the way down to 30 Swiss francs for the top 10. You win the championship in Challenger League, well, that's £3,000 in your 3,000 Swiss francs, should I say, in your back pocket. Racer League, then, they get 3,500 for a win in the race, down to 200 Swiss francs for the top 10. The season goes all the way up to 35. As let's go now into our brand new segment, it's Rush Hour. And welcome then to our latest segment. We're joined by one of our Racing Unleashed experts here. Noah, how are you?
I'm fine. I mean, season started off today. Kind of started, not really, but happy to be here. Happy to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you alongside us. Obviously, we're going to chat everything knockout qualifying. We're going to chat everything as well. Bit of motorsport. I think a few Ferrari questions might be in store for you a little later on.
I don't think I would like that.
Either way, though, here we go. So we've got a few replays that we're going to take a look at in just a moment's time. Get your expert opinion on what you felt in the knockout qualifying session. Just talk us through it, though. Joshua Hader gets his pole position at the moment. A good qualifying session for him.
It was a really good qualifying session. One of the guys, that I thought had a crazy race was Overkirk. I mean, he started at the front, not too experienced in here, and he kept it on top for quite a while.
Yeah.
Where some of the people thought the slower guys would get overtaken much quicker, but he had it over there for a pretty long time. Especially a great comeback from Yannick Pletcher. In my opinion, I think he spun or he got spun. I'm not too sure about it. He started all the way in the back, got it into the midfield. I think on top of the midfield, exactly. Great, and the Hader brothers as well.
Yeah,
both of them.
And you know as well as anybody, they're very passionate men. They show their emotions when they're racing, whether it's good or bad, and that'll be a great result for the pair of the Hader brothers.
They deserve it. They're great guys. I met them personally. I worked in the lounge Chemtal for 1.5 years. I saw them personally. They're great guys. They deserve it. Like Yannick Pletcher and especially all of the guys I met in the lounges. Great guys, great people, great personalities.
Great guys indeed. Borges also P2 in that one. A good start to his qualifying campaign.
Exactly. When we saw what happened last year at the Nürburgring, when he started the knockout qualifying in first, but got spun out in somewhere in the middle of the race after having a big lead, was a bummer. Yeah. This time he didn't spin out, He got P2.
Yeah, Marcus Valverde, do you think he'll be happy with that one? Obviously he was up the top sharp end of the pack and then seemed to just drop off at the end.
I don't think he will be too happy, but we all know Marcus Valverde is capable to get back into the race, to get back into front. I mean, he put the battle on David Seed last year, sometimes being in the same lounge as him. So I think he will get back.
It was an interesting qualifying, not without its incidents though. Noah, it had a few.
Yeah.
Nothing too much to talk about though, because it seemed pretty clean from all drivers. There was a moment where a car comes spinning across the track. What Yannick Pletcher narrowly avoided that. Just talk us through how he'd have felt in that sort of moment.
It's how some drivers call it code brown. When you get on the track, you see the car pulling into the track when you're just going straight and you just think, wow, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And that shows how great these drivers actually are, how much they practice to have this kind of a reaction to get away from it and avoid the accident.
One man who we were seeing fighting at the front with Valverde and David Seed last season was Nico Farland. Not the best qualifying for him, down in P17. Didn't really see what happened to him for him to be down in that position. What's he going to be feeling going into the race?
I'm pretty sure he got to be disappointed in himself, because I think he had a crash somewhere in the last chicane. I think we got to note it down. We should have to replay afterwards for it.
Yeah.
He would be pretty disappointed, but I would say, like Marcus Valverde, he's fast.
Yeah.
He can get back, and I'm pretty sure he's confident enough to say, I will get this.
Well, we've got some replays for you now. Let's just take a look at these now, and you give us your opinion on what happened in these replays. Just a few coming up. Talk us through this one then. Obviously, you see above, you've got the two cars in front, side by side. The two just behind. A fair gap between the three of them. But just talk us through what happens here when we get the replay, hopefully playing for you. Just talk us through this one then. It's clearly Torlashi. We're on board, and bit of a dive bomb there.
Not even just that, he didn't really get onto the apex. He didn't really get the corner. He had a bit too less space. If he got it on the apex, he would have done it.
Yeah.
He could have gone through. A bit of misjudgment, thought he would be out a little bit more. Didn't work out. That's what happens.
You see there Nico Farland just tapping a car up the rear, then getting pushed a little wide on the exit of the chicane. And this must be annoying for drivers, because he's obviously not meant to tap him up the rear, but to then kind of get forced out wide and he loses 2 places.
Yeah, we could discuss about moving on a braking in his case.
Yeah.
Because he already pulled out, and the guy ahead pulled out as well. So,
and you see here on the back of Michael Farland, father of Nico, coming down. This is towards the hairpin, I do believe. Lunge up the inside. Again, just didn't work there, and then it just ended up in a bit of a disaster for a couple of cars. Here's Lorenzo Hayder, and just, look, the yellow car there, just tapping the back of the blue one, and Lorenzo Hayder.
Big luck.
Yeah, kind of just...
his case.
Was that a case of him being at the wrong place at the wrong time?
I can say in the wrong place at the wrong time with very much luck.
Yeah.
That he got enough space to get it next to him, don't spin out as well. But he could have done nothing to avoid it without crashing himself.
Yeah, obviously not expecting the two cars in front to be a little slower, and just the last one you see on our screen here, it's difficult for these drivers on this circuit because there's so many corners that are a little bit blind to them as you're coming up and down the hills, and that seemed to be what catched Hayder off there coming up through the hill, the contact made from the two in front.
One of the corners that's pretty tricky to get is turn 1, in my opinion. I mean, you kind of see it when you're going downhill, but until that place you will not see it. So if there's someone braking wrongly or too early into this corner, you will not see it, and it's nearly impossible to avoid that.
As for the Nico Farland one then, we'll take another look at it right now. Let's just have another view of this, and then we'll get onto the Nico Farland one, because I just want to get your opinion of the car in front of Nico Farland. But let's just take a look again here. This is on board the new driver, and like you say, missed his apex, a little too wide, and he just can't get through.
Wanted a little bit too much, wasn't able to get it done. I would say you can talk about a racing incident because it wasn't a bad move. I mean, he wasn't braking too late, he just missed his apex. Happens, that's racing.
Do you think if you look at the view there, if it pause for a moment, the two cars side by side in front, does he think that the move might be on because the door's open?
Maybe he thinks they're battling with each other. If I get a great apex out of this corner, I can get ahead of both of them in the next corner. I mean, it's not what very experienced drivers would do.
Yeah.
But for me personally, if I was in the cockpit, I don't know if I would have done any different in this case from seeing it in the cockpit. But it shows he's not too experienced, but he's fast. And he's passionate. He wants to get every position possible.
Yeah, he's clearly
Ayrton Senna get.
Exactly. He's clearly got the pace underneath him, and he's clearly got the passion to be at the front. And like you say, that just comes with a lack of maybe that Racing Unleashed experience that a lot of these drivers on this grid have.
Exactly.
Let's just take one more look at this then, as we come down towards the hairpin. Obviously, the two side by side braking zone, I think, is the key point here. He's just missed it, hasn't he? He's not far off it, but he's just missed his braking zone, and that's what's put him into the back of the other car. As we see the Nico Farland one as well, once again, the car in front just has a little manoeuvre in front of him, as you see just now. Look,
he pulled out, the car ahead, pulled to the right side, and pulled back to the left.
Yeah.
I think there was nothing Nico could have done to avoid it. There was a crash happening there because we could say that was moving on the braking.
Yeah.
We saw it in Formula 1 in Austin.
Yeah.
With, I think it was Stroll and...
Yes, Alonso.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it caused a massive incident that day. Luckily enough, the drivers, it was just a bump up the rear this day. But for Farland, he got pushed wide on the exit of the second chicane. Was that because the car was so tight to the second part of the chicane that he got pushed wide? Or what will he be thinking here? Because as you see, look, he's got such a tight line, the car on his inside. Is that just natural because the car's so tight he's not getting it turned in? Or
I think the other guy wanted too much.
Yeah.
He thought about, I spun out. He drove into me. I don't want to give up this position. I'm not at fault.
Yeah.
And that's what every single racing driver thinks when they do a crash. It's never their fault until they see it, and sometimes they think, okay, it may be my fault.
The driver in front there will probably look at that and say, I've made a couple of manoeuvres there, and that's clearly what's put Nico Farland off. And will these penalties to maybe some of these drivers that we may see come in, will that promote him up the grid a little bit? Surely that will cheer him up a little moment. Let's just look at this one here, as this is coming into the middle sector, down towards the hairpin. No, that isn't the hairpin, apologies. And big tap on the rear. Car spins round, collects another one. What do we think to this one then, Noah? Because Again, it's similar to the first one, bit late on the brakes.
I don't even think it's just him being late on the brakes. It's the car in front being a little early on the brakes as well. That's a bit of the problem when you got cars that were so much speeds in between, so many seconds from the fastest to the slowest. You will see it at the braking points. The car had brakes just a few meters too early. The car behind brakes a few meters too late, and then it just happens. There's
one thing to notice with that one though. The door was pretty shut. You know, there didn't seem to be the gap on the inside that we saw a little earlier. Could that have been avoided?
Yes, I think his decision was, I want to get into his rear. I want to get a great exit and get him on the straights. But if it just would have braked a little bit earlier and didn't want too much out of this corner especially, this could have been avoided.
I believe the driver was Borges Arzo as well, so you know, a key moment for him, because he's not going to want to lose his P2, but if race control decide penalty, you know, it could demote him down the order a little bit. And obviously going into next week for these drivers, you know, penalties in qualifying could lead to some penalty points being introduced, so get the errors out the way now.
As far as I know, penalty points in the prologue do not count towards the season.
Yeah.
Except from feelings, nothing's hurt today.
No, but if the mistakes are there next week, you know, the feelings will definitely be hurt.
Yeah.
If Joshua Hader, keeps his pole position, what's his mindset for this race going to be? Because he clearly had some good pace in the knockout qualifying, a sprint race, if you will.
Yeah.
What's his mindset going to be going into that race, knowing he's got some good pace?
Me personally, knowing Joshua, I think he will be pretty calm. Now he will be pretty excited, having the pole position, but when he gets into the car, he will be pretty calm again, calm himself down, knowing I can do this.
Yeah.
I know I can do this. I got my brother in the back, maybe even next to him when Borges also gets a penalty. And just trusting each other, trusting himself that he got the capacity to get a great race, to not spin out, to not do the mistakes on his own. So I think he will be pretty calm going in there, and let's hope for the best for him. But let's hope for the best for the other drivers as well.
Exactly, and while we're not thinking about it, we saw that Joshua Hader was involved in an incident at the S's. We saw that Borges also was involved in an incident at the hairpin. Could give Lorenzo the pole position.
Wasn't Lorenzo the one who was involved in this crash?
It was Lorenzo, so I apologise. So Joshua should keep his pole position. So it could be Lorenzo that drops down. And
it depends on the penalties. Maybe they both get penalised. Maybe one gets a bigger penalty than the other one. We will see afterwards when the race control says this is it.
Guzman Migueles could be promoted up to the front row with a couple of penalties here. That'll really benefit him and really give him a boost going into this one. Yannick Pletcher as well, if a few drivers get a penalty in front of him, he could be into that top 5 sort of area. Another driver that will be thriving on that if he gets promoted.
We all know Yannick Pletcher got the capacity to get ahead, to be fast. I mean, at the start of the season when we got the new car and everything, he took 1 week of vacation just to practice.
Yeah. Just talk to us a bit about this new car this year. Obviously, we've heard it's a little more lighter on the rear end. It's a little bit more twitchy on the rear end. What have the drivers got to do this year that they could get away with last year, so to say?
They need to be way more cautious in the fast corners. Because, like some of the drivers said I was talking to, in the fast corner, it's a bit loose on the rear end. Not too loose that you know I will lose the rear end, but I just need to be very cautious that I do not lose the car in the rear end. In the fast corner, as much as I heard, it's a bit faster. In the slow corners, I mean, you have a little bit more grip on the front end. So it's just way more like the real car.
Yeah. The drivers obviously got to be careful. Maggots and Beckett's next week at Silverstone, a real fast part of the circuit that we could see a few drivers losing the rear end of the car. Yeah. Push to pass coming up in the race. Obviously, we don't get it in knockout, so push to pass we'll see for the first time. 5 times the drivers get push to pass. It activates for 5 seconds. They can use it 5 times in the race. They can use it whether to attack or defend. An interesting new system that Race Unleashed have brought in for this year. We saw it in the Formula 1 when they introduced KERS. It became a big thing in terms of overtaking and defending.
Or the push to pass in IndyCar as well.
We're hoping for more of the same here.
Yeah.
What are we expecting from it? 5 seconds isn't a very long time, so you've got to use it wisely.
I think in tracks like Barcelona, when we saw the race last year in Barcelona, there were really much overtakes.
Yeah.
If you have one car in front that's just a bit slower than you, it will just get such a long chain behind of him. And I think the push to pass will enable, even in these tracks, more overtakes, more scenes for the fans to see.
Yeah.
Makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
If it's used correctly.
It's a good job it wasn't in knockout qualifying, because if you remember back to Mugello last year. Let's have a look though at Rush Hour, a little clip we've got coming up for you. Be honest, how many times did it take you to do that?
That was actually the first try.
Really?
We tried it about 10 times more, never happened, never worked again. So I just thought, stick with the first try.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We've got some lovely little clips like that coming up throughout the season. And let's take a look at a couple more replays here then of what happened in the knockout qualifying. And yeah, if you remember back to Mugello qualifying, push to pass not being used in that, could be a good one then. So here we are on board Michael Farland, down into the hairpin. Just that little tap there, and if you see, it actually causes like a domino effect. The silver and red car behind get caught up in that. That's the Lorenzo Hayder one. And again, let's talk about that one. The blue car at the front, slow through the S's. The yellow car taps him on the rear. He then becomes slow. Lorenzo not expecting this. He's carried his speed through, and he's just clipped that yellow car, and it's clearly put the yellow car into the gravel. Lorenzo's lucky that he's not had the spin.
Yeah. For me personally, he wasn't at fault at all. For me personally, because there's nowhere he could have gone.
Yeah.
If he'd gone out, he would have spun out himself. And then you always need to think about, they are racing drivers. No racing driver will say, I'm going to risk my own race to save his.
Yes. Yeah.
If there would have been a move where you just gone out a little bit and then you could have avoided it, then we can say, okay, he's at fault. But in his case, I don't think he had enough room on the left side to avoid that crash.
He come through with such speed as well. Obviously, a quick part of the circuit. You barely, you take it flat out. I think the guys was taking. So it was a very fast part of the circuit where the guys was full throttle. Clearly caught up by the two in front. The two in front, the little tap, nothing in that. Just one a little slow and catching the other. A bit again. Just one catching the other out.
Exactly. That's what racing is. If you have so many cars in such a small space, one little mistake can lead to a chain reaction, can shoot out so many different guys. It's not always one tap is one crash.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it before, I think with the Porsche Salsa one. One tap led to many taps.
The taps, exactly, and that's the problem here when all the cars are so close together then. So provisional grid still being is still as it is at the moment. We are still waiting for final classification of the final grid order for the race, and obviously the Formula One back in a couple of weeks' time, and Red Bull as dominant as ever in that one. Mercedes looked like it started to find some pace. But this man's a Ferrari fan, so I thought we'd discuss a few things Ferrari. What's gone wrong for them this season at the moment?
I think the shorter list is what didn't go wrong this season. I think, to be honest, it's a shorter list. I mean, start off in Bahrain, Leclerc DNF.
Yep.
Sadly happens, but there's nothing he could do. Carlos Sainz did a great race. Tire strategy didn't work out perfectly. Alonso catched him. Second race, Saudi Arabia, didn't go to plan as well for the Ferraris.
Yeah.
Not too bad, just didn't go according to plan. They just didn't have the pace.
What do Ferrari have to do to turn their fortunes around? Obviously, they go to Baku in a couple of weeks' time. What's Ferrari got to do to turn it around this season?
I think it's pretty simple. I don't want to say the same words, but I would say, as Christian Horner said in Drive to Survive, change your car.
Yeah.
I think that's what Ferrari needs to do. I think, if I'm correct, they will bring new side pods.
A lot of new parts coming in Catalonia here. Just being told in our ear that Joshua Hader is under investigation. So that doesn't sound too good for him. Obviously, the current pole sitter, he is under investigation. So at the moment, Joshua pretty well. There's the scenes of race control behind us. What's Joshua going to be thinking now then? Now that he knows he's under investigation, what's his thoughts?
If I'm completely honest, I think right now he would say, what the F?
Yeah.
But when we got some scenes, he will see the scenes. Maybe he will just calm down a little, say, okay, maybe I could have done this different, that different. I don't know. Sadly, we don't have to replay what is under investigation. Maybe if it's possible, it would be great to have it here to see what happened. But I think he will just say, happens, keep going. Then I just got to overtake a few people to win.
He'll be able to be a little annoyed for a moment and then calm himself down and get ready for the race.
They always are.
Exactly. We'll see what the penalty is. If it is a penalty, it's only under investigation at the moment. That is all we have been told. We'll keep you up to date if we hear any more news. Back to Formula One then. Fernando Alonso, 40 years old.
Awesome.
Moved to Aston Martin. People think, well, the Aston wasn't great last year.
I mean,
what a job.
It's smiling on one side of my face and crying on the other one, because on one end I love that Alonso is back in a fast car. He deserves it. He's a great driver. He's still one of the great drivers on the grid and one of the best in Formula One history. On the other end, I'm so sad for Vettel. I mean, I loved Vettel growing up. I just watched him all the time, watched him win, and just see that he missed out on a championship contender car right now is kind of sad. But I love it for Alonso. I love it that he is back in front of the grid. So
do you think then, given what you've just said about Sebastian, do you think Sebastian would have got the same results as Alonso? Do you think he could have done a bit better, a bit worse? What do you think if Sebastian Vettel was still in his car right now, what he'd have got out that Aston Martin?
I think it's depending on the track and on the situation. Alonso is a very fast driver. On the other hand, Vettel is a very smart driver. It's like I always compare Verstappen and Leclerc. Verstappen is the guy with the most raw pace in the whole grid.
And you see there then, Lorenzo and Joshua Hader, and that look on his face kind of tells you everything, doesn't it? Kind of, what's going to happen here then as we sit and wait? And I don't know if they'll know before us. We'll all kind of know at the same time of what's going to happen here. But the brothers there,
I'm pretty sure they will get it from us. We get it.
We get it all at the same time. So a very tentative look on the faces there of the brothers. And going back to the Aston Martin then, Lance Stroll obviously is in the Aston Martin as well. He's had a good start to his season.
Me personally, I don't dislike Lance. I'm not his biggest fan. Because if it wasn't for money, he would have been out of Formula One a while ago. But the pace he's having right now, he deserves a seat.
Exactly. Let's take a look at a little clip. Apologies, sorry, I got heard in my ear that we're going to look at something.
I think the Hader brothers just saw us and got to give us the thumbs up. Let's give them thumbs
either
up
way
to them as well.
The Hader brothers sat nice and comfy. There we go. We are looking for the incident. Both Hader brothers under investigation. So we are looking for the footage then. That is what we are looking for. That's what I was told in my ear, so I do apologise about that one. So both Hader brothers under investigation. I wouldn't like to be in Kemp Toll right now, because the emotions there is going to get high.
But like I said, first of all, they would think, what the F? But when they see what happened, maybe they calm down a little, and when they get back into the car, they will be really calm. They will be focused on the race. And I know for a fact both of them will make the best out of every situation, fight back. And if we see how we saw in the knockout, they fought back from the back of the grid all the way to the front. So why can't they do it again?
Exactly. The good thing to note then is that Joshua Hader isn't under investigation. No, it was Lorenzo. Isn't under investigation for the incident we saw a little earlier. So that's good to know that it wasn't that incident that he's under investigation for. As they are there again on our screen, just over our shoulders now, and that's rather a chilled outlook, isn't it? Say you're under investigation. He's like he's on the beach.
I mean, they didn't get a penalty yet. So let's see how their faces look when they get a penalty or when they do not get a penalty.
Exactly. Nice and chill from the brothers there, look.
Also seeing people in the back like Yannick Pletcher, Michael Weversik. He's a great guy as well. He's always coming down from Austria to race at our lounge. He's spending time there. He's a great personality, great guy. Love for him to be in a simulator today as well.
We've also got Ciro Zambra there and what looks to be Tiziano Caponio, I think, just next to Ciro Zambra as well. So it's a shame. I believe Tiziano's not racing this year, so it's a shame that he's not here. But Ciro,
other things. Ciro, on the other hand, I think he needed to change his whole driving style. If he gets it done, if he can change his style of driving to drive in Mode 4, he would be fast as well.
Now, just seeing some pictures here, we're getting a few high fives between Lorenzo Hayder and Yannick Pletcher there. So, is that confirmation of pole position for Joshua Hayder?
I think we got the scene here.
Yeah, looks like we have. Let's take a look then. So, they're all four coming down
Joshua
towards
should be the
turn
white
1.
car.
Joshua through the middle.
Okay.
Oh.
That's, in my opinion, a clear... It's not clearly his fault, but it's his fault.
Let's take a look then on the sort of chase view of this.
If you see, he do not brake any later than the car next to him. Wrong place, wrong time.
So what are we saying? The car in front was a little slow at turn 1? Do we think that's the situation?
I think he was a little slow, but still the fault is on Joshua Hayder's side because he's the car behind. He needs to brake early when he sees the car in front is too slow. He could have done nothing else. I mean, for me personally, you could either say it's a fault on his side or a racing incident. Both possible. If you look at the cars next to him, he didn't brake later than them. So it's not that he was way too late on the brakes and that's why it happened, but it's on him to avoid the crash and do not drive into the back of the car in front.
Can't go to the right, can't go to the left. There was cars either side of him, so chose the middle option, and that one didn't work out for him. You see the drivers there then getting ready to get back into the cockpit. You've been in the racing lounge at this stage of the race. What's going through these guys' minds then as they calm down after the classification comes through? They're told to get back in the cockpit. What's their mindset?
It's completely different between all the drivers. Some drivers are really hyped for the race. Some guys are really calm. The Hayder brothers most of the times are just smiling when they get in. They're just fun. They just have fun to drive.
Love to be in the cockpit.
Exactly. Same as guys like Thomas Herzog. We had other guys in the cockpit that were just really calm, like Michael Fry, who's sadly not racing this year as well. They were pretty calm. They were really focused on the race ahead. Some guys are really happy.
Let's have a teaser then of a bit more rush hour for you right now. It looks like you two had a lot of fun making these.
Yes. That was actually the second try. In the first try, I knocked down his phone.
There we go then. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll have many more to come as the season goes on throughout this season. But the drivers, and they're getting into the cockpits and they're getting ready for this race. Noah, a prediction from you until on the race winner? Who do you think is going to win?
I didn't hear you, sir.
Who do you think is going to quickly win the race before we take a look at Challenge
For me personally, it's between Pletcher, the Hayder brothers, and Valverde.
There we go, then. You heard it from Noah himself. Let's take a look at what happened Challenge League at the Nürburgring last year.
Let's go racing. Boyasasso with it all to do then from pole position, but of course every driver wants to make up positions right at the start of the race. Look at that, taking to the grass and then to the tarmac as Borja Sasso gets really overtaken by both Marcus Valverde and Ciro Zambra, and then it's Blasig and David Seed. Bear in mind he's got a lot of work to do going from P7 on the grid, so Ciro Zambra then it is that leads this race at the moment. This is Ciro Zambra, and he of course, what's he doing? Into the pit lane, Ciro Zambra. We're now being told he got penalised for jumping the start. In fact, he wasn't the only one. This is Sinan Demurbas then, who is sick to the back teeth of the sight of the back end of Tyler Klausch's car. He has been able to do nothing about this. I just wonder whether he's going to get desperate and try a lunge, which really isn't on. I don't think he's quite close enough to be able to do it now going into the turn at turn number 1. He does take a look at the inside, and he does, almost exactly as I predicted. So Sinan Demurbas was told by race control to give the place back. So if he can overtake again, but do it fairly, he would bank P3. So there will be no post-race penalty because he gave the place back. Marcus Valverde is going to win, no question. He did enough to hold on to that win despite relentless pressure from David Seed behind him. It's a brilliant win for Marcus Valverde. David Seed is very happy with P2.
Today I had a good start, and then I had the pace I need to stay in this position. So at first I thought David was catching me, but I could manage to finish the race in the first position.
It's so hard to overtake in Nürburgring with these cars, and it's so hard. I mean, I could have stayed there for 20 laps and I would have overtaken him.
I just knew that I was in the right, and I didn't want to risk a penalty that I couldn't reverse, basically. And then I just took the smart decision to either take P4 or get P3 back in the end.
And here comes confirmation then of our race from the Nürburgring in the Challenger League. Marcus Valverde taking P1. David Seed then with P2. A great drive from Sinan Demirbas for P3. Tyler Klaus then banks P4. Ciro Zambra P5. Jason Bleissig then P6. Thomas Herzog P7. Mikael Fry, it's P8. Boya Zazo, what a comeback, P9. Joshua Hader, he takes P10. To the second page we go, and P11 for Fabian Mayer. Tiziano Caponio, P12. Andren Kiefer, P13. Andre Wagner, P14. Antonio Rivoli banks P15. Valentin Georgiev with P16. Julian Macias de la Rosa, it's P17. Guzman Migueles, P18. Martin Oberholzer, P19. Astrid Vollenweider, we saw across the line, P20. And then P21 for Stephen McMahon and a DNF for Lorenzo Hader. Sinan takes the P3 place on the podium then. Well, here's David Seed. Generally, when the medal goes on, he will smile for P2. There you go. See, it was a little smile. Well done, David Seed then. And then, of course, P1. Well done, sir. Race winner. First win of the season in Racing Unleashed. And that win comes at the Nürburgring. Oh, there we go. P1 and P2 together. That's a nice photograph, and it's a nice shot for us as well.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
And that there was great to see then that Marcus Valverde, your winner, will he get it today? Is there all the Hader brothers sporting some lovely merchandise there then? As we see them in the background, they are absolutely loving this and are ready to go for this race coming up a little later on. Obviously pulling some fantastic, a bit of a wave and a thumbs up wearing team merch as they go ahead into the race for this one. Clearly happy, so clearly a result going their way. Valverde won that race last year. Can he do it again?
That's why I didn't take him out of the mix. That's exactly right now all the drivers driving out of Spain, they're fast. They're really fast. And Marcus Valverde right now, in my opinion, is the best driver they have. He's not the fastest, but he's just so consistent. He's has experience in our car, so that's why I should never take him out of the mix.
Well, you look at the drivers racing in Spain this week. Tonight, for example, Guzman Migueles, you've got Borja Zazo, Marcus Valverde, Adrian Gomez, Alonso, and Augustin Tolashi. Tolashi, a very quick driver. We saw in the gear-up session, second fastest in the session.
Yeah.
Is he going to try to challenge Valverde and have that David Seed, Marcus Valverde rivalry from the Madrid Racing Lounge?
He could, but he just need to gain a little bit of experience. He need to be very consistent. We know from Marcus Valverde, he's capable to drive at a very fast pace for the whole race. We know he got that experience. If he can gain that experience, if he can gain some consistency, he could battle him for the best Spain driver we have on the grid now.
There we go. A lot of drivers today from Switzerland in the Kemptal Lounge. Yeah. Obviously the Hader brothers, Yannick Pletcher, a lot of names today. See Thomas Herzog, but a couple ones then. Andreas Koch, Michael Verviks. I'm going to butcher that all day. I can tell you now. Matthias Overkirk and as well Fabio Schlegel. Out of them boys, who do we think is going to sort of be the one to watch? Obviously, the Haders at the front at the moment.
I think it's hard to decide which of them to watch. I mean, Michael Waversik, like I said, he's a great guy. When he comes into the lounge, he's racing 1.5 hours without any breaks.
Yeah.
It just takes about 30 minutes break and do that twice again.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that if he practices, he will be there for a long time. But he's not too often in our lounge practicing.
Yeah.
On the other guys like Andreas Koch or Fabio Schlegel, these guys are multiple times a week in the lounge practicing, but then they're just for 1 or 2 hours there.
And this is the thing with the new cars, and obviously the back end being a bit lighter and a bit more twitchy. This is something that drivers have got to practice to make sure that going into these races and these events, they've got the car settled. Obviously, for example, Silverstone next week, very tricky track. You've got Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, very tricky corners where the back end can go light and come round on you, and it's going to be tough for them. As we're just being told in our ears now that both the Heider brothers have got a 2-place grid penalty each, which then is big news for Borja, puts him on the pole position. So race control. Oh, no, we're being told as well that Borja now has a 2-place penalty himself.
So, maybe someone tell us who is pole position
we will
right
get
now?
confirmation. And a 4-place penalty now going to Tyler Klausch as well. So a lot of penalties being dished out from race control here.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're being told another 2-place penalty. So I believe in total a 4-place grid penalty for Joshua Heider. They're coming through thick and fast here. They are really coming through. Lorenzo Heider gets as well a 4-second penalty. So that's 4th-place penalty. So that's 6 grid penalties for one for the incidents. Wow, a lot of penalties coming in thick and fast there, and the Heider brothers, 10 places between them.
Yeah, they will not be happy about that.
Yeah, them high fives we saw a little earlier.
Yeah. Right now, I'm actually sure they will say what the F.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm pretty sure they will say something about that.
Agustin Talashi has been given a 2-place grid penalty. So on his debut here, his first outing, picking up a penalty.
Not too bad. If you see, there's many penalties right now.
Yeah.
So there are drivers that are more experienced than him getting penalties as well. So just get your head into the game.
We are currently working on a new grid, so please bear with us. We will get the grid to you as soon as possible. One man that does a lot of favours for, though, Yannick Pletcher and Marcus Valverde.
Exactly.
Really does promote them up the grid here.
That just says again how fair they're driving. They just always get out of trouble, always get out the traffic, make sure. I'd rather overtake in the next corner than have a crash in this corner. That just shows it again, the sort of experience they have from practicing so many times. I think if I saw right, Joshua Heider was over 30 drives this month only.
Yeah.
I saw from a page he was driving more than 30 times a half an hour. So over 15 hours practicing this month alone. But guys like Yannick Pletcher are multiple times a week there.
And as we see them, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers getting back into their simulators, and the Heider brothers in, and Joshua there, he looks fairly relaxed to say he's just been given such a big time penalty there. Look, headset on, chilling out. He looks fairly calm.
The second he gets into the car, he just gets his head into the game, thinking, they take away the cars from me, the spots, I'm going to take it back.
One man that it helps as well, looking at the grid, Troninger for P7.
Not bad.
Promoted
First
a lot
time.
of places as well for his first time, so starting near the front of the grid.
It's always penalties is a pleasure for one and a pleasure for the other.
Yeah, exactly. So we will get you a grid as soon as possible. You see there Joshua Heider is just strapping himself into his cockpit. The thought so through his mind at the moment, he's got to get himself ready for a frantic race. It's going to be difficult for him to get through and to get it done. It's going to be 19 laps of the Nürburgring I have here in front of me. So 19 laps of the... Sorry, that would be I believe it's 19 laps of the Nürburgring for today. That is the amount of laps he's got to get from a 6th place grid penalty, possibly P7 on the grid if I've worked everything out right, depending on other penalties. So... a lot of work for him to do. Borja there then, streaming to his own platforms on Twitch. That's the camera behind him. He's obviously very chatty with his viewers at the moment and the people around him so far. A 2-place grid penalty for him. He's got to be a bit disappointed with that. The guy next to him in the blue shirt, famous YouTuber. So clearly doing it for the stream at the moment.
Yes.
But picked up that 2-place grid penalty.
Yeah, he would be pretty bummed about that as well.
Yeah.
But like we always say, racing is a big part. There's not just the talent part, it's just the luck part as well. I mean, some accidents could happen all the way in front, and all of these guys like Joshua Heider, Lorenzo, Borja also will just get through without any problems and be back in the lead of the race.
Yeah.
So it's always about a little bit of luck as well, if you can say that. Not just talent, not just practice, but it's 99% practice and talent, 1% luck.
That's it, isn't it? You can't practice people spinning in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So the drivers getting themselves ready then for the race. They're all prepared. They've took some fluids on board and they're going to be getting ready to go for this one in just a few moments' time. And we are getting you the grid as quick as possible. But next week, we're back. We're normally a couple of weeks of a break before we're back next time around. We're back next week at Silverstone. And that's going to be fun, a fun race to watch and talk about.
That's true. I'm pretty sure there will be a pretty big load of accidents for rush hour to analyze, but should be a fun race, should be a fast race, a close one as well, because in these kind of races, the field just spreads so much. It is so much space between the first and the last guy, but between the fast guys, it's just so much.
The biggest question is, well, how will the new cars react? So we have been told that Guzman Migueles has got pole position. So the Spanish driver, who was actually P5 in that qualifying session, has been promoted to pole position. So that is a heck of a jump there for him.
I'm pretty sure he will be quite excited about that news.
He will be excited indeed. So other drivers picking up penalties. Guzman Migueles is the man who is then on pole position. That we can tell you is confirmed. The other 17 drivers, we're still yet to find out. And we'll see where they all line up in just a moment's time when we bring you that action. Racer League back next week. Michael Schmiedl dominated last year, really, didn't he? What do we expect this year from him and from his rivals?
I think Michael Schmiedl will come into the race as prepared as the last time. He will get in there, he will want to win, and he will win races. For me personally, I think he will win, but Sanchez will get the battle on him and it will be way closer.
Well, tune in next week for that one to find out. Here is your pole sitter then, Guzman Migueles, and as you can see, look, fully focused on what he's got to do, just relaxing, staying nice and calm and making sure that he is as relaxed as possible and fully focused to go. He's got a big task on his hands in this race, and well, the opportunity to go from 5th all the way up to P1. Bearing in mind, Guzman Migueles, just to say, started in P6 on the grid in the knockout qualifying, finished 5th, so gained a place. He's gained all 5 places.
Yeah.
This man, he's got to be sat really sort of, that's got to have calmed his nerves a little bit, knowing that he's at the front of the grid.
Or just make him a little bit nervous even more, knowing he's at the front of the grid.
With turn 1.
One of the two.
Yeah, with turn 1 being the hairpin corner, very sharp, comes back on yourself. You're kind of a target, aren't you, at the front? If somebody, as we've seen in the knockout, somebody misses their brakes.
Sometimes it's better to be in the pack than all the way in front, because if you're in front, you know I will be attacked.
Yeah.
They want to gain my place. If you're in the middle of the field, you just know, I just want to survive. Make sure I do not brake too late, make sure I do not brake too early, get through it, let the field spread a bit, and then start attacking.
Now, question for you. You will see here in Madrid that clearly the drivers, we've got Borges Arzo just behind him, Guzman Migueles here. They're in the cockpit, they're getting ready to go, they're getting themselves psyched up. We're still awaiting official confirmation of the rest of the grid. What are these guys thinking? Are they more getting frustrated at the wait here, or stay calm, stay relaxed? Because obviously when you're out and about, you can have a walk and a wander, get a drink while we wait for race control. We can see, the drivers be relaxed. But at this moment while we're waiting, what do the drivers think? Before you answer that question, Borges Arzo will start from P2. So even though he got a 2-place grid penalty himself, keeps his position.
Yeah.
But what do the drivers think having to wait this long? Is it frustrating for them?
For some people, it most certainly will be very frustrating. On the other hand, some guys will just say, I'm going to just roll with what I got. Do I got a good starting position? Do I got bad starting position? I don't care. I just want to get to race. I just want to be good. For other people, they will be frustrated. They want to know where am I starting so they can get a little strategy in their head from the start. Yeah. What do I want to do? How do I want to start? Do I start inside or outside the track?
got to visualise going into turn one, haven't you? And get ready to go. You see there Marcus Valverde sporting a very, very nice, fantastic yellow headband, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes well with the new cars this year, because the Madrid cars have the yellow part on it. So, you know, he's fitting for his car in the red simulator then. And well, we await confirmation for P3 and the rest of the grid, but it is going to be an absolutely fantastic one. We've just been told that Marcus Valverde will start P3, so there you go, Noah. It's a Madrid 1, 2, 3.
Yes, Madrid's a very fast lap. We can say a very fast lap, a very fast launch. So they got fast drivers. I mean, if you look at the Race League and the Challenger League, if you see all the drivers, they got the fastest ones, not just the fastest guys, but compared to the whole field, they got the highest density of very fast drivers. And so the eyes are always on Madrid. Yeah. But I think the guy we have behind us right now will lay the battle on him. They want to show
Joshua P4, we're being told. So even though he was the pole setter and got that 6th place penalty, he's not lost as many places as possible because of other drivers getting more. Marcus Valverde won last year. We saw that just a moment ago. For Joshua here, big task, because he's been penalised for a turn 1 incident late on the brakes. He's got the 2 starting in front of him. He's got to make sure in this race that he doesn't do it, and he doesn't do it early on.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he will just go into the race knowing I got 19 laps to do the task. I don't need to do it in the first corner.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's always a kind of a luck thing, always in the first corner, just surviving. Even if you're in front of the whole pack, you just always need to have a little bit of luck to get through completely. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he will not be the guy who said, I'm in need to take the win in this corner. He knows he got 19 laps to go.
He waited patiently for his time in the knockout qualifying. We can speak to Joshua now, though. Joshua, can you hear us?
Clear and loud.
Clear and loud. That must be a little frustrating for yourself.
No. But that's racing. I made a mistake, I got my penalty, and that's it.
Yeah.
I will focus on the race and not be angry about the penalty.
Exactly. You're only P4, so it's not the worst position.
Repeat, please.
You're only in position 4. You're not in the worst position on the grid.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the race is long, and we will see. I hope you can enjoy it.
I'm sure we will all. I'm sure we will all enjoy it, Joshua. Best of luck for the race, my friend.
Good luck.
Thank you, mate. Greetings to Noah.
Greetings back to you.
So Joshua, hey, then he's clearly not too disheartened. He's clearly still happy with his 4th place at the moment.
Like I said, the moment he gets into the car, he's just focused, get the race going, make the best out of his chances.
And Joshua Hader here, I believe this could be P5 on the grid, just awaiting confirmation. So again, you know, only losing a couple of places. If this is for P5, as we're going through, this is P5. So Lorenzo Hader is P5. Loses 2 grid spots, effectively. We can speak to Lorenzo now. Lorenzo, P5 still isn't bad.
P5 is not. It's. I'm speechless because my penalty. I was on P3. I was happy with that, but with my penalty, I think that's unfair. I don't make a mistake, so yeah. But from P5, I can drive to P1, and that's my target, and we will see.
Yeah, target P1. What is your thought from starting on row 3 for the start of the race? For the start of the race, starting in 5th.
Yes.
What's your thought for the start?
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm mad.
Maybe I try. Maybe you can hear me. What's your thoughts?
Yes, I can hear.
How will you go into the race from starting on row 3? How will you go into this race starting from the 3rd row instead of the 2nd row?
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
My brain
you're
is down.
You're fine. Best of luck for the race, Lorenzo.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, clearly a bit of frustration for Lorenzo there.
Let's wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we wish all the 18 drivers.
He's a quick driver and he can get himself back to the front. We've seen this
Like
before.
we've seen in Mugello in the knockout last year. He started from pretty much the middle or the back, and he got all the way to the front.
Yeah. We can now speak to our pole sitter, Guzman Migueles. And Guzman, good afternoon, good evening. Congratulations on pole position.
Thank you very much. After all the penalties, we got it.
Yeah, we got it in the end. Talk us through your knockout qualifying, because across the line P5, it wasn't too bad.
It was actually P4, I think, but yeah, it was tough because of the accidents, and yeah, let's push hard.
Let's push hard indeed. Pole position then. Going into turn one, what's your plan?
Defending to death.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for the race, my friend. Have a great one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guzman, they're clearly very happy with his promotion to P1, and he's going to defend like mad into turn one.
He's going to defend like a lion, like Alonso would say.
Defending like a lion indeed. So the top five we have confirmed for you: Guzman Migueles on pole, Borges Arzo second, Marcus Valverde third, Joshua Hader fourth, Lorenzo Hader in P5. That is confirmed at the moment. Still awaiting the other 13 classifications for this one. So Yannick Pletcher possibly not getting the promotion he thought he'd get. Obviously, we sat here hearing this from race control. They've not been demoted as much as possible. We can get the final classifications now and go over to the starting grid. So let's take a look at it as we spin ourselves around and take a look at the final classification then for qualifying here at Racing Unleashed for the Prologue race coming up in just a moment's time. You see over our shoulders Guzman Migueles on pole position from Borges Arzo and Marcus Valverde, the three Spanish boys on the top. Joshua Hader in P4. It's actually Walter Truninger in P5. So it's Lorenzo Hader's actually P6 in this one, according to our screens there. P7 is then Yannick Pletcher, so he's at one place. Matthias Overkirk in P8. Tyler Klaus P9. Andrin Gomez Alonso rounding out the top 9. Tyler Klaus is P8, sorry. P10, Andreas Koch then with Michael Farland in P11. Michael Verversik in P12. Augustin Tolashi in P13. Thomas Herzog, 14th place. Fabio Schlegel in P15. Nico Farland still starting 17th place, just ahead of Sylvain Pruce. So no promotion for Farland in this one.
He's going to have his hands full in this race.
He is, indeed.
We know Nico, he will not back down from a challenge. He will move up as much as possible.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. He will give it absolutely everything. And that then was your final classification for the Prologue Challenger League race coming up in just a few moments' time. And as you see over our shoulders, the Zurich Airport, lovely view here. And it's been a pleasure to have you with us today, Noah. We're going to have plenty more rush hour and hopefully yourself back a little later on this season. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fantastic to have Noah then as we get ready for the race. Coming up in just a few moments' time. That was Noah then, and what a rush hour that was. And we'll be bringing you more rush hour later in the season. The drivers, as we can just see behind us, are getting lined up on the grid and are getting ready to go. So they are all making sure that they are in the key position here to get the good start and the best start as possible. Let's go through the Hader brothers' thoughts. There is Guzman Migueles, your pole sitter in this one. As you hear the revs just start to rise a little bit then, the lights appear on the screen. And for the first time this season, it's green and go here at Racing Unleashed for the Prologue event, and it's a great start from Guzman Migueles, already pulling away off the line, covering that inside marker, down towards turn one he comes, already defending like he said he was going to, a couple wide, oh big contact, shunt in the rear, and that has spanned Migueles round, and already a few cars wide, and Migueles there has not had the start he wanted, someone late on the brakes. Borges Arzo now takes the lead of this one from Marcus Valverde, up the order already as well. Yannick Pletcher He's made moves. He's up into P4 on this leaderboard. Thomas Herzog as well making places. Don't forget, drivers, once they've got 5 attempts to use the push to pass, it will go red. The number on your screen will go red. They have 5 attempts. It lasts for 5 seconds. Here is Yannick Pletcher sitting in P3 at the moment. 1.9 off the back of Marcus Valverde. He's gone from 7th to 3rd. What an absolute demon start from him off this grid. Valverde and Zarzo, though, just in front of Borja Zarzo, already stretching his legs out front. 7/10 of a second is the gap. Yannick Pletcher just bringing that gap down under a second. It's Tyler Clouch 4th. Lorenzo Hayder's in 5th place. Gomez Alonso is up in P6. Overkirk then is in 7th place. Thomas Herzog 9th. Nico Farland from 17th on the grid. Nico Farland up into P9. What a start he's had. Joshua Hayder rounding out the top 10. Here is Joshua Hayder. Got to focus. 10th place. He's lost a few from the start. Breaks into the chicane and you just see it all congest up. He's trying to look on the inside. Can't make the move there. Slow car on exit. Now gets up the inside for the final corner. That looks like it could be job done. Get the better run here for Joshua and it could be P9. It is P9. Thank you very much, he says. He's making his way back up the pack. Out front, 9/10 of a second, so Borja Zarzo stretching his legs a little further, a couple more tenths out front. 6/10 in fact the gap now is, so he's been caught through sector 1, and Yannick Pletcher is being pulled along by the 2 drivers from Madrid. Tyler Clouch 2 seconds off the back of these leaders. It's 1, 2, 3 for the lead coming into the middle sector now. Borja Zarzo a little wide on the exit of the corner. That's not going to hurt him too much. Got to keep it nice and steady. He'll want to get this first win. There is Borja Zarzo talking it through with his chat, obviously live streaming this to his own channel. Is that maybe just distracting him a little today? He's got Valverde all over the back of him, and Valverde won the Challenger League race here last season. Look at the determination on his face to get on the back of Borja Zarzo, running the curbs. Just touches the outside curb there and use as much of the runoff before you turn into left-hander. A little deep from Valverde there. He's got to be careful because he's got Yannick Pletcher right behind him. And down, flat out through this last stretch. Get a good run to the chicane. Do you think looking up the inside, he's a little too far back? Is Valverde at the minute. Yannick Pletcher right there as well. Tyler Clouch, you see him in the distance. And Valverde running a lot of curb there. Doesn't seem to be affected by that, so he gets a good run on Borja Zarzo. Few drivers down the bottom end of the pack making up a few places. Overkirk's dropped down to 17th as Michael Farland now gets past him, so he's dropped down to 18th place. And last at the moment, drivers you see using their push to pass. And Valverde, little deep at turn 1, managed to not run into the back of Borja Zarzo. Zarzo's gone deep at turn 2 then, and this gives Valverde a sniff of an opportunity. And did they just make a little bit of contact there through turn 3 into turn 4? And Valverde has to back out of that one and let Borja Zarzo keep the position. He's having a look each way till Sunday at the moment, and Yannick Pletcher sat patiently waiting for this opportunity to arise to him. And a great start for Yannick Pletcher, coming from 7th on the grid. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Bit of a wiggle there, lost a bit of momentum coming down towards the hairpin, and Valverde just patiently waiting and biding his time on the rear wing of Borja Zarzo. And just seems to get a bit of better traction out the hairpin into the S's now. How's his run through the S's? Not too bad, pretty much the same as Valverde's is. And Valverde, this middle sector, just not able to gain any time over Borja Zarzo. Joshua Hayder, whoa, late on the brakes, bit of a wiggle mid-corner, has to back out of that one before clattering into the back of Thomas Herzog here. This is for P7, for P8 and for P9. Nico Farland P7 at the minute, 1.2 off the back of Gomez Alonso. Here though is Tolashi, our Argentinian driver, on the back of Troninga. Not on the back anymore, he's side by side. He's going to look up the inside and towards the final corner, and Tolashi then up the inside, similar to what we saw a little earlier on, just a better run through the chicane, and that is a position gain for him. So fantastic stuff for Tolashi. Nice and dark in the Kemptar Lounge for him to concentrate. Tolashi's actually lost a place to Troninga on the outside of turn 1. He's going to look on the outside of turn 2, tuck underneath, maybe get the cut back, can't do it there. And Schlegel now has dropped down to P18, so not sure what's happened there. A couple of drivers, Marcus Valverde, Lorenzo Hayder, have used their push to pass. Nico Farland, I think, used 2 laps of push to pass. A couple of drivers with 3 laps left, or 3 opportunities left, should we say. And Guzman Migueles trying to gain on the back of this pack of Tolashi here. Our pole sitter and our Argentinian on board as both him and the car in front go a little deep into the hairpin, and Guzman Migueles is coming. Tolashi very quick in the gear up session. This on the back of Troninger. Odd on the brakes into the corner. There's Guzman Migueles, the yellow car in the background. Tolashi, the green car. Bit of a gap back then to Koch, who's 4 seconds off the back of this pack. Meanwhile, the gap out front, Yannick Pletcher, is 0.2 of a second off the back of Marcus Valverde. Here is Yannick Pletcher, right on the back. Valverde just on that exit curb a little bit too much, had a bit of a wiggle. Does this give Pletcher a run into turn 1? Down he comes. Is he going to look to lunge up the inside? No, brakes early, thinks better of it, and he's going to still wait for his opportunity to come back and wait for this opportunity to arise to him. Yannick Pletcher into turn 2 now. Borges Arzo just being allowed to stretch out in front a little bit at the moment as Yannick Pletcher putting the pressure on Marcus Valverde, who won here in the Challenger League last time out last year. Lorenzo Hayder up into P4. He's a couple of seconds off the back of this battle, so he himself is trying to gain on this top 3. Guzman Migueles has got past Tolashi. He's now into the top 11. And he'll be looking to get into that top 10. Yannick Pletcher, you see under braking on the helicopter camera here, just trying to stick to the back then of Marcus Valverde. And a cracking run from Valverde out the hairpin up the S's has brought Borges Arzo back to him here. So for Borges Arzo, got to start to look to defend him. But look at Guzman Migueles just in front of Tolashi here. Gets a great dive up the inside. That's a fantastic manoeuvre. And Tolashi patiently waits as Migueles there makes the move on the exit of the hairpin. Job done at the S's. Tolashi's now going to have a little look up the inside. Can't get it done then. And Troninger just dropping down a place. Migueles back into the top 10. Tolashi, though, hasn't finished attacking here, and he's putting him to the sword at the moment. And look at this, good pressure as they come through the right-hander, flat out, use that slipstream up towards the chicane. Any lunge here? No, not this time around. And Tolashi does a fantastic job of making sure this one, he's not going to be an incident, but patiently biding his time. And here's Yannick Pletcher up the inside at turn 1. He's the outside for turn 2. That gives Valverde the chance to defend it, and he defends it with ease. Borges Arzo just stretched his legs, and look who's joined the party. Lorenzo Hayder is now on the scene. He had such great pace in knockout. He's now made a 3-way battle into a 4-way battle. Lorenzo Hayder is absolutely flying, a man on a mission, determined to get the race win back from it for him after being demoted from P3 in qualifying. Joshua Hayder, his brother, down in P9 at the moment, not at the same pace. Lorenzo, who seemed a bit beat up and distraught in that qualifying, or after qualifying should I say, he's now pushing on the back of the top 3. And it's just ebbing and flowing at the moment. Borges Arzo seems to have the upper hand over Valverde. Then Valverde comes back at him. Pletcher trying to put the pressure on both of them. And while Lorenzo Hayder is in the background, Tyler Klaus P5, he's just not got the pace of the top 4. He's dropped to 3 seconds behind here and just hasn't got the pace. He's got Gomez Alonso on the rear wing of him. And here is Gomez Alonso, not on the rear wing anymore. He's round the outside at the chicane. That is a lovely manoeuvre from Gomez Alonso. Job done at the chicane. Easy as you like. He was on the rear wing of Tyler Klaus. He's not anymore. And that is Nico Farland. Is that Nico Farland having a little look at Tyler Klaus? We'll see as they come down towards the line. Believe it is. Yes, the pink helmet giving it away that it's Munich's car of Nico Farland. Tucks back in behind Tyler Klaus once again. So Michael Farland now, the father of Nico, on the back of Bruce for P14 and 15. And an interesting battle. Here is Gomez Alonso with Tyler Klaus and Nico Farland behind. So out of our new drivers, Gomez Alonso, the highest one at the moment in P5. And going really well at the minute. Farland's got past Bruce on the timing screen now, so that is job done for him. And it's all about when Lorenzo Hayder can get himself in front of Yannick Pletcher, or get himself a little bit closer to Yannick Pletcher, as Yannick's once again on the back of Valverde. Gomez has no push to pass left, just looking at it on my screen now. So he's done for his push to pass. Borges Arzo, by the way, he's defended all of this, still got 5 goes at his push to pass to go here, so he's still got the chance to use it. So does Yannick Pletcher. Gomez has used all of his. Truninger has used all of his as well. A couple of drivers still on 5 attempts. But Lorenzo Hayder, he's got 4 attempts left. Marcus Valverde has got 4 attempts left to try and get this one done. And this a key part. Guzman Migueles only two opportunities to use his push to pass as Marcus Valverde uses his to try and go down the inside of Borja Zarzo. It didn't work though. Borja managed to defend from Marcus Valverde there, and either drivers have forgot about the push to pass, or he's using this very tactically and strategically at the moment. A few drivers just over the track limits there. We see Yannick Pletcher still hasn't used his push to pass either, but for Marcus Valverde it is so far 2 attempts used, and it's not paid off the way he wanted it to. It got him side by side. Lorenzo Hayder at the moment used 1 attempt. Now Nico Forland on the back of Gomez. He's got 3 attempts left to use this. Here is Lorenzo Hayder on board him. 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the lead here. Up through the S's. And this is where Yannick Pletcher's just lost a bit of time to Valverde. Zarzo not making the corner as wide on entry, and look at that, Valverde a little wide. That maybe gives Yannick Pletcher a bit of a sniff of an opportunity, but can't get that one done there. For Yannick Pletcher here, it's all about sticking to the back of this pack. He's got his 5 attempts of his push to pass still to use. So does Borja Zarzo though. So you imagine Zarzo may use his here to defend them positions. Only the 2 drivers have fully used their push to pass. That is Gomez, Alonso and Truninger. Schlegel at the back of the pack, he's still got all 5 laps to use. Marcus Valverde now coming down towards turn 1. Does he use another lap of it? No, he does not. Neither does Lorenzo Hayder there then. And Valverde very twitchy on the wheel, making sure he gets it turned in. Really sort of stepping close to the back of Borja Zarzo's car. Again, just running over that curb a little bit too much. Is that a bit of track limits we'll see in the season? Possibly. The race control may want to look at that one. As Valverde then, Yannick Pletcher is that, just having a little look, having a sniff. Can't get it done. Forland's done his fastest lap of the race. Here is Yannick Pletcher. Look at how calm he looks. Just biding his time. Fellow fans in the background here of Yannick Pletcher. On to lap 9 of 19. Oh, little wide that for Talashi there, who's got past Tyler Klaus. As who's that? Guzman Migueles. Oh, the pole sitter. Not had the race to remember here. He's dropped down to P12. So Talashi up to 9th. Herzog, Tyler Klaus up to P10. What's happened to him? Because he's dropped right down the order as well. Joshua Hayder 7th. Here is Joshua Hayder on the back of Nico Forland and on the back of Gomez Alonso. Gomez Alonso, no push to pass left to use, whereas Nico Forland, who is using it right now, as is Lorenzo Hayder, and Nico Forland gets side by side with Gomez Alonso. Can't make the move stick. Now Joshua Hayder tucks underneath. Can he make a look at the final corner? No. Forland closes that one off. So Forland down to 2 laps, Hayder down to 3 laps of push to pass left to use. As Thomas Herzog behind these boys sets his personal best lap of the race, and here comes Hayder up the inside of Forland into turn 1. Bit of contact, bit of wheel rubbing there, a bit of a wiggle for Hayder on the exit, and Forland keeps hold of his position for the time being. But Hayder then starting to look a bit interested. He looks again up turn 3, a bit of a desperation dive that maybe. He was a bit far back, round the outside now with turn 4, and Forland still manages to hold on to that position. This has brought Thomas Herzog right into play here. Only 2 tenths off the back. He's right on that rear wing, and look at that determined face of Nico Forland in the dark of the Munich Racing Lounge. An absolute determined face. Lorenzo Hayder, 3 uses of his push to pass, has got himself ahead of Yannick Pletcher for P3 then. Joshua Hayder has to go again over Nico Forland, who's lost a lot of time, to Gomez here. And Gomez Alonso, with these two having a bit of a squabble, with that no push to pass, he's starting to just pull away a little bit, but Forland and Hayder and Herzog all still have laps available to them. Guzman Migueles has 1 use left of his push to pass, and he's on the back of Truninger down the pack. Valverde, is he going to use one here? He's a bit closer to Borja Zarzo outright. Does he think of using a push to pass down the start straight? Doesn't look it at the moment. When's he going to think of pressing that button? Is he going to pull out to the inside? He does. Zarzo defends the inside line. Hayder's in the background. He can't tuck underneath, and he cannot get that job done. Valverde still sitting in P2 then at the moment, and this is a great job for Marcus Valverde to be fighting at the front. What a fight we're seeing though. Yannick Pletcher in this still 4 for the lead. This is great driving from all 4 of these drivers. Gomez Alonso is a further 5 seconds behind here. Guzman Migueles gets past Druninger. That's for P11 and 12. And we've got 8 laps left of this race then. I'm just hoping that Borges Orzo and Yannick Pletcher haven't forgotten, as well as Prius down the order, haven't forgotten about their push to pass button, as they haven't used it yet. And look at this, 4 for the lead. Madrid, Zurich and Zurich. In terms of the racing loungers leading this race so far, the leading Munich driver is Nico Farland in P6, and this is a fantastic little battle between all of them. Haida just a bit far off the back there. Yannick Pletcher really close up under braking, as did Marcus Valverde on Borges Orzo. Gets even closer. Yannick Pletcher has a little look then. And Valverde now is as close as he's been all race here. And is he now going to think of using a push to pass? I think Lorenzo Hader has. He's down to 2 uses. Now Yannick Pletcher uses one. The bonus for Yannick is he's got 2 extra usages over Lorenzo Hader at this moment. It's when he uses this battery power. That is the question. Valverde down to 3. He didn't use one last lap, and he's getting closer on his own. Borges Orzo, fantastic defensive drive. Oh, that's a bit of a wide berth there for Yannick Pletcher. Borges Orzo, fantastic defensive drive here. Still got all his push to pass left, and still managing to keep out in front. Michael Farland up to 13th place, and Schlegel gets past Overkirk for P17. Still, just the 2 drivers who have used all of their battery. Valverde's got himself past Borges Orzo. Just as I looked at the timing screen, Borges Orzo is now in 2nd place. Has still got all his usage. Valverde used that push to pass into the hairpin and gets the job done. So Valverde now leads, but for Orzo, he's got full battery power at the moment. Is he saving it for the final 5 laps? Well, he's got to stick with him. He uses one now, as does Joshua Hader and Yannick Pletcher. So Hader sniffs an opportunity now that Borges Orzo has been overtaken. He's got 1 use left over Borges Orzo. Oh, just clatters the curb a little bit, loses all momentum, covers that inside line. Yannick Pletcher can't find a way through. Really lost all momentum through that corner. Yannick's still on the outside and squeezed by Lorenzo Hader there onto the curb on the outside. Joshua Hader now has 1 usage left, and Borges Orzo looking up the inside once again. He's used his 2nd bit of push to pass, and he's on the inside for turn 2. Gets the job back done. Borges Orzo back in the lead of this race, and has 1 extra push to pass usage over Marcus Valverde at the moment. The Hader brothers both have 1 each. Yannick Pletcher still has 3 to use. He's still 4 for this lead at the moment. It is a fantastic battle from all of these drivers so far. Top 4 then, down towards the hairpin, clear of Joshua Hader by 5 seconds. Nico Farland gets himself finally past Gomez Alonso. The question for Lorenzo Hader here is, he's in this train, when does he think of using his final push to pass? Here is Nico Farland, got past Gomez Alonso, and you can see Joshua Hader just in front of him, so he's going to want to make sure he makes a move on Joshua Hader here as well. Getting a bit closer, he has got bit extra battery power, a bit extra push to pass over him. Thomas Herzog now on the back of Gomez Alonso. And really for Alonso, when Thomas Herzog uses that push to pass, he's a bit of a sitting duck and a passenger. And there we go, look, doesn't get the run through the corner. Thomas Herzog uses a push to pass. And Gomez Alonso a little deeper the chicane, and well, really keeps hold of his position for the time being. Thomas Herzog with Torlachi on the back of him. On board Gomez Alonso. Cool, calm character. He sees Nico Farland and Lorenzo Hader getting close up front, but he's kind of looking in his mirrors at the moment of that of Torlachi and Thomas Herzog appearing large. Still only Gomez and the Truninger to have used their battery, their push to pass. Valverde still out front. 5 laps left in this race. Prius really needs to start using his push to pass. I don't think it's 1 a lap, but you really want to make sure that you're using them wisely and when you can. as here comes Pius, trying to maybe use his battery power and get the best out of it. As Borges Arzo still leading. Tolashi now on the back of Thomas Herzog, with Gomez just in front of the pair of them. And this a fantastic little battle at the moment between these drivers. Tolashi has an extra lap over Thomas Herzog at the moment. Herzog 2 laps over Gomez, and he's just a second behind Gomez here. Schlegel gets past Pius down the bottom end of the grid. Here it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, and look, P5. Joshua Hader in the background, so he started to appear. Nico Forland does a PB. Gomez does a PB as well. Absolutely flying. As Pius still hasn't used the battery power at the moment. And it's just added another bit of another complex to the racing here that the guys have got to get through and have got to think about while driving. Yannick Pletcher then on the back of Joshua Hader. Joshua Hader on the back of Marcus Valverde. Valverde on the back of Zarzo. Into the hairpin, 15th time of asking, lap 15 of 19. Couple of laps left, Valverde, bit of a wiggle, Lorenzo Hader wide and into the gravel. And that could give Yannick Pletcher a bit of an opportunity into the S's. Don't think it has though, but it's just dropped Lorenzo Hader off of the back of Valverde and Borges Arzo for a brief time. So Lorenzo Hader just starting to push the boundaries a little bit, push his limits to try and get past the two in front. And that nearly allowed Yannick Pletcher to come through. So then, Yannick Pletcher now on the back of Lorenzo Hader. Bit of a gap between. Tyler Klaus has got past Thomas Herzog down for 9th and 10th. Joshua Hader 3 seconds off the back of this battle at the front. Just about to start the 16th lap of this race. Borges Arzo, what a time to set your fastest lap of the race. A PB for him. Here is Tyler Klaus. Tolashi, the next car for him to pass. And Yannick Pletcher has lost a bit of time. A few cars seemed all over the place through turn 1 there. Zarzo from Valverde, from Hader, from Pletcher. Joshua Hader, 2.9 off the back of Pletcher, and he's bringing Nico Farland with him. Still push to pass to use for a lot of drivers. Trudinger does his fastest lap of the race. Guzman Migueles now has used his push to pass. He's used all of that. Down to hairpin once again. Lorenzo Hader just looks like he's gaining on the back of Valverde just a little bit, putting pressure on Valverde a bit more here. Schlegel does his fastest lap of the race. Lorenzo Hader then really struggling. There's Tiziano Caponio, Ciro Zambra, your current Challenger League champion Ciro Zambra, watching on in the background. Lorenzo Hader then has used his final push to pass, and he's going to look up the inside of Marcus Valverde. That was a good lunge. He's made it stick, and with no push to pass left now, Lorenzo Hader gets up into P2. And Yannick Pletcher now behind Marcus Valverde. Valverde's not got the opportunity to attack for the race lead anymore because he's got to now get past Lorenzo Hader. Here comes Yannick Pletcher using a push to pass up the inside into turn 1, and Valverde in the space of 3 corners has gone from 2nd to 4th, with Joshua Hader and Nico Farland coming in the background as well. So Lorenzo Hader, Gomez, Alonso, Guzman Migueles and Trudinger all done at the moment. There is Tiziano Caponio and Ciro Zambra once again. And Yannick Pletcher up into 3rd place. What that has allowed though is Borges Arzo just to create a bit of a gap between himself and Lorenzo Hader. In fact, he's used another lap of push to pass. That's possibly what's pulled him in front a little bit in terms of this battle. Lorenzo Hader then, no more push to pass. The cars in front have a couple of laps. The cars behind have a couple of laps. There's only though a couple of laps left to go. I'm sure this man will take the P2 if he keeps it that way in this race. Sylvain Proust, by the way, someone may need to tell him push to pass is active this year because he's still not used any. 2 laps to go left in this race. It may all be over for him to use it, but he's still not used any yet. 4 drivers have. Here is Yannick Pletcher. He has 1 lap left available to him. does his best lap, does a PB for Yannick this time around. You see he took a deep breath there. He knows the battle that's happening in front. Valverde behind still with 2 uses left. Joshua Hader 1.8 off the back of this little pack. He's also got 1 usage left. And that there, look, Lorenzo Hader looking like he's trying to attack Borja Zarzo. Down into the middle sector. Borja Zarzo, Lorenzo Hader, Yannick Pletcher. Just behind Yannick Pletcher is Marcus Valverde. Not far behind Marcus Valverde is Joshua Hader. He's pulled a bit of a gap over Nico Farland at the minute. Lorenzo Hader here, what a drive from him. He's really still attacking with no push to pass. He is still attacking. He's not giving up. He's giving it absolutely everything to get on the back of Borja Zarzo, who's got 2 uses of his push to pass left. And we come round to end lap 18 and to start the final lap in just a couple of corners time. And Lorenzo Hader here is really putting on a good show. Marcus Valverde using a bit of push to pass, and he's got 1 lap left to use. It hasn't, though, helped him get past Yannick Pletcher. It's probably helped him get on the back of Yannick Pletcher. So the top 4 all separated by a few tenths of a second at the moment. And it's Lorenzo Hader who is the man to watch so far, because he's the man with no push to pass left, and he's the man who's got the chance here to get it done. Valverde has none left, Joshua Hader has none left, Nico Farland has none left, so they've all used it down the start straight. Here comes Borja Zarzo, 1 use. Here comes Yannick Pletcher, 1 use. Can Lorenzo Hader get a job done on Borja Zarzo? Can he get a job done on, can Yannick Pletcher get the job done on Lorenzo Hader? That is the biggest question here. And at the moment, for these drivers, they've got 1 usage left in third and first. Lorenzo Hader having a fantastic drive here to still be attacking and defending at the same time. Everybody coming to the end of this race. We're down towards the Dunlop hairpin once again. 4 tenths of a second separate the 2 leaders. Lorenzo Hader really trying to attack now as we come into the back part of this race. There's only one place really Yannick Pletcher is going to look to use his push to pass. That's got to be on the back part of the circuit, coming down towards the chicane. Look at how close Lorenzo Hader is now out of the S's then. Zarzo, for his benefit, does have a push to pass, but Hader then got such a run through the S's. Now Zarzo and Pletcher use their push to pass. That has possibly just won it for Borja Zarzo then, as they come towards the chicane. Pletcher to the outside of Hader, can't get the move done. Luckily doesn't go wide and allow Valverde through. But it is going to be Borja Zarzo on the Prologue to take the win here at Nürburgring. What a drive for the Spaniard. It is the Prologue win for Borja Zarzo. Lorenzo Hader second, Yannick Pletcher third, Marcus Valverde P4, Joshua Hader P5, Nico Farland P6. It is then Gomez Alonso P7, Talashi in P8. Tyler Klausch will cross the line P9 when we get there. Although Guzman Migueles could still be attacking. There we go. Tyler Klausch P9, Guzman Migueles P10. Just wait now for Truninger, who's going to come across the line P11. Thomas Herzog P12. Michael Farland, we're waiting for him. He will be in P13. A very happy Yannick Pletcher with that podium. Very happy. A fist bump and everything. High fives. Farland 13th. Koch in 14th place. Just awaiting Verversik to cross the line. He crosses the line now, P15 for Verversik. Overkirk, he'll come across the line, P16 as well. So that's a job done for him. 17 for Sylvain Pugh, for Fabio Schlegel and Sylvain Pius, P18. And what a race that was. What an absolute fantastic race that was. The 4-way fight was absolutely insane. Absolutely incredible. And it's Borja Zarzo who strategically used his push to pass. And we said that this is going to be the way that drivers have to do it this season to get it done. There is Overkirk at the end of his race. What a fantastic drive from everybody today. Didn't really see many incidents in that one either, so great to see the drivers being respectful and clean as well. It was really nice to see. But Borja Zazo, wow, what an incredible drive. He really did use his push to pass when he needed to use it. He used it to defend at the very end there. He saw that Lorenzo Hayder was right on the back of him, used it at the right time, and that managed to win him this race. Don't forget though, the result is only provisional, so we will bring you a final classification, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I saw nothing wrong with that race. I thought that was a fantastic drive. Lorenzo Hayder P2 and Yannick Pletcher P3. There is Borja Zazo. He will be a very, very happy man with that one, let me tell you. Lady, there he is. Look, round of applause for his live stream, for himself. What a drive. What a drive. The four-way battle. They had to defend from Valverde for so long. Marcus Valverde, how your heart has to go out for him. P4 in the end. It was just not to be for him today. But what a fantastic start to what is going to be a fantastic season here at Racing Unleashed. And this is just the prologue. This is just a pre-season event. We have much more to come, such as next week at Silverstone, where we'll be bringing you all the action live. Friday for the Challenger League and Saturday for the Racer League. But that man there is a very, very happy man, let me tell you, and hopefully we'll speak to him in just a moment. There is Lorenzo Hayder, and let's not forget what happened in the interview just before the race. Was a little down in the dumps, a little disgruntled, but how that face has changed at the moment. He seems very, very happy with that one, and let me tell you, he is going to be thrilled with that, and no doubt we'll get some pictures of Yannick Pletcher in just a moment as well, and he'll be ecstatic with that. He will be ecstatic. As we pan around there, we see Joshua Hayder chatting with a few others, discussing, debriefing, if you will, from the race we've just had. He was nearly on the back of that. A couple more laps, he'd have been on the back of the rest of the pack. And fantastic scenes here. But that man there is going to be one happy man. There he is. Look, that's the moment he crossed the line and he won the race. An absolute fantastic scene for Borja Zazo. It may only be the prologue, it may only be a pre-season event, but let me tell you now, he will be a very happy man. Look at the smile on his face. Very, very happy with the victory he's taken there. The provisional result then, Borja Zazo from Lorenzo Hayder and Yannick Pletcher, your top three. What a job for them guys in this prologue event. Them three will be hoping that form continues going into the first race of the season next Friday at Silverstone. But that, your podium, is fantastic. Yannick Pletcher will be pleased with a P3. No man, I think, will be happier than Lorenzo Hayder on the far side of your screen. No man will be happier than him for coming second place in this race today. What a fantastic race it was, ladies and gentlemen, as well. Let's be honest. As a prologue, a pre-season event, this is worth staying tuned for, because this season is going to be an absolute fantastic one. And we will be bringing you all the action live all season long. I believe we are joined now by Yannick Pletcher. Yannick, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Matthew. Can you hear me too?
I can hear you. By the smile on your face there, I take it you're very, very happy with that one.
Yes, I'm really happy. It's a big plate from me, you know. It was long ago when I was the last podium, you know, and now it's like I can do it, so it's great. You know,
take you back to Mugello last year, Yannick. Take you back to Mugello. Yes. You got the pole position. I commentated on that one with you. Then I interviewed that one. Does that feel as good as the first pole position?
Definitely, but better. For me, it was a more emotional P3 today.
Talk us through the race, because that battle was insane.
Yes, I was really safe, to be honest. I was not going into the deepest holes, because it's when you crash somebody out, you're also out and you get the penalty. And it's not like we should race, so I was really safe today. And yeah, sometimes it's better to get off the throttle than to drive in somebody.
How did that man there behind you, the current Challenger League champion, has he helped you today, the Challenger League champion, Ciro? Has he give you a helping hand? Finally as well,
yes.
Push to pass. How was that?
Great. It was a bit on this track. It's a bit controversial because you have so much dirty air and you can't pass really. It was really difficult. I shouldn't let Lorenzo by or go for a move by Marcos Valverde there in the first round, but yeah, we've pushed the pass. It's great, but yeah, dirty air is a really big thing. That's awesome.
It's going to be a fantastic season, that's for sure. But
Yes,
congratulations on the P3, my friend. Well done today. I hope to see that smile going into next week.
Yes, and Noah and you are a great combo. I must say that now. So yes,
thank you.
You're
Thank
really
you very
great
much.
combo.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, we see your smile a bit more later in this season as well. That then was your provisional.
Thank you, Mathew.
You're welcome. That then was your provisional third place driver, Yannick Pletcher, who
yes.
I hope keeps that, because I saw nothing wrong with that top four. I thought it was a fantastic little fight. That then was Yannick Pletcher, your P3 man at the moment. Very, very happy with himself, and I imagine we'll be getting another very, very happy man in just a moment. And that will be this man on your screen now. And not the smile I was expecting at the moment. I thought he'd have a bigger smile. It's there. Lorenzo, can you hear us?
Yes.
That was some race.
First of all, congrats to Boyasazo for the win. He's defend very well. He surprised me because he had 2 push to pass at the last 2 laps. But I'm very happy. I started from P6. I had a little accident at the first lap at the second corner, but my pace was very great. The fights was nice. I had big fun, and I'm very happy with that result. P2 from P6. Yes.
It was a very good move on Valverde to get that P2. Obviously, provisional results at the moment, nothing clarified yet. But that gives you good form going into Silverstone.
I hope so. My brother and I, we came every week to practice all tracks on Racing Unleashed. So I hope my pace is good enough in Silverstone. So my target P1. I think that's the all target from all drivers. So we will see, and I'm happy.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank
We'll
you
wait
so
for
much.
final classification. That was Lorenzo Hayder, your provisional man on P2 at the moment then. So we'll be hearing from our provisional race winner, Borges Arzo, in just a little while. And we're just being told in our ear now that the only confirmed win is your winner, Borges Arzo. So he is confirmed as the winner. So it's no provisional result here. This man is classified as your race winner. And I imagine that is going to be one big smile on his face when he hears us at the moment. Borges, can you hear us? He can hear us loud and clear. That is a race win confirmed. That was one heck of a drive.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Talk us through your race, Borgia, because it was difficult on the fact you had to defend so much.
Yes, it's been a quite difficult race because my rival behind was pressing me too much and I tried to give my best and just I could maintain my position until the end, so I'm so happy.
Obviously, you was live streaming the race as well for your end, so an extra sort of added twist to your race today, and the fact you was bringing it to your channel on Twitch as well. How did that go?
It went really well because I was streaming and I was commentating my race while I was driving this race. So it was quite difficult to do two things at the same time, but I could handle it. So I'm so happy.
Obviously, the race win today, it gives you a lot of momentum going into Silverstone next week and into the rest of this calendar that we've got coming up. That's the way you wanted to do it. But well done on the win, Borja. We'll speak to you hopefully later in the season, if not next week. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And that then is your classified race winner, Borja Zarzo. Then he is classified. We await the rest of the results at the moment, but look at his smile. A very happy man. Lorenzo Hayder, well, he's got to wait. As for them two men, to his other side, Ciro Zambra, he'll have it all to do next Saturday in the Racer League. There's a man P3, we're currently waiting to find out where he finishes as well. So everything provisional apart from your race winner. And what a drive from everybody today. The top four, what an absolute fantastic battle. But if it's not confirmed at the moment, then it could go the way of other drivers. We'll have to wait and see. But smiles from everybody there. Yannick Pletcher, Lorenzo Hayder, very, very happy with that one. Tiziano, he looks happy as he takes a drink. And everybody on their phone just patiently waiting in front of the big screen. They can see us live. So hopefully we'll get a few thumbs up and a few waves from our audience in just a moment's time. If we started off, they might reply back to us. Hopefully a few thumbs up and waves from them. They're all very happy with how they've got on. And they'll be looking to make sure that this is job done. Yannick, no more than anybody, will want to hopefully make sure he can get on that second step of the podium. There then is Joshua. There then is a very, very busy race control. And the four men here have got such a job to do at the moment that you would not want to make the wrong decision, especially that man in the middle there with the Red Bull jacket on his chair. Roger Moore was racing in the Racer League, in the Racing Unleashed last year. He's going to want to make sure that the decisions are as clear and as fair as possible. Obviously, possibly being in the wrong end of some last year. The man stood at the end of the race control wall, Carl Verdlinger, the former Formula One driver. We'll get it out eventually. Here, though, looks like it's a few clips of the race at the moment, and this is how it unfolded. Then, what a start we saw from Guzman Migueles when we get this one going. But it was what a start. That was all we had from Guzman today. As you see here, look, he gets a great run off the line at the moment. The gap behind is so phenomenal at the moment that you just see as he comes into turn one. Yeah. Someone's missed their braking point there, and it all just stagnates up. And look at that, a bit of an unsafe rejoin then from Guzman Migueles, just a bit too hasty to get going. This is from Borja Zarzo's point of view. So P3 on the grid was Marcus Valverde. So this, Marcus, could be under investigation for this, because just watch here. Just now, bang. And that is how you lose a race lead. That's how you ruin somebody's race. A little late on the brakes, especially at turn one here. Here is Marcus Valverde's point of view of this then. And this for Marcus Valverde. Great start from him, great launch indeed, but just wallop. Straight off. And that is not what you want to be doing. Lap one. This is on board just above the halo. Yeah. Yeah. And he was clear to the left as well, could he have maybe? Oh, and then look at that, Valverde again. So in turn two. So a double incident here. Let's stay with Valverde. Hopefully we get the shot of both of these then. Overhead. Great start from Valverde. Comes from third to second place. He's got room to his left. No, bang, straight into Guzman Migueles. Borja Zarzo goes past. There's another car that goes through as well. Not sure who it is. And bang, straight into the back of another one. Yes, naughty, naughty. Schlegel. Up the inside. Oh, thank you, Mama, for the carrots. I'll have a few places there. Yes, don't mind if I do. Very opportunistic move until he wallops someone in the back. So, how you do it at turn one, how to not do it at turn two. So I said we didn't see that many incidents in this race. The replays are proving otherwise. Look at this, great manoeuvre. Everybody congested up. Passes a good couple of cars here, a good 5 or 6 cars, and then wallop. Yeah, you got it so right, turn one, for it to go so wrong, turn two, and just after turn two. Yannick Pletcher here. Look at him, he made a demon start from the mid-pack. Wow. I don't think that lies at Yannick Pletcher's door, that, if you ask me. Let's watch from the sort of chase view. Yannick's still got a wheel alongside a wheel. He can't go anywhere. Yeah, feel the door shut there. I reckon race control are going to look at the similar bit to that one. Schlegel again. Oh, he's in the wars today. Forcing another car off the road after he went deep at the chicane. Loses 2 places himself. This is where the penalty point system next week coming into effect. Obviously no penalty points for today, but Schlegel, they're running one off the road. Crash, bang, wallop. There goes another one. Tally them up. Sylvain Prusse didn't use his push to pass. Instead he did push to pass. Doesn't need the extra battery power to get past him at turn 1 there. Just pushes him off the road a little bit. Late on the brakes, day late, dollar short. And bang. That's what you get. And turn 1 here, so tricky to get right, especially in the dirty air, the slipstream of the other car. Borges Arzo here. Look at this. Around the outside of Valverde. Little bit of wheel to wheel. Nothing more than wheel to wheel. There's nothing wrong with that. And Borges Arzo, thank you very much. Chase camera again. Gets the move done. If anything, Valverde understeers into the side of him. But where's he meant to go? Borges Arzo there, fantastic drive from him. And that one, a bit of door banging, if you will, if they had doors. This then still your provisional result. Borges Arzo, Lorenzo Hayder, Yannick Pletcher, the top 3. The only person we can confirm is number 1, is that man there, Borges Arzo. He is your race winner. That is confirmed. We just await race control with the rest of the results for the top 3. Here, though, is the victory ceremony. Let's take a look. Yannick Pletcher. There he is. P3, being told, go on, get yourself on the podium, Yannick. Up he gets, P3. And a thumbs up. He's happy, he is. He's got a big smile on his face. No one's going to take that smile away from him. And is this the start of his season? And the start of things to come for the man in Zurich? Very happy. I got told yesterday it's not warm enough for shorts, so I hope that Yannick's got some trousers to put on after. And there then is Lorenzo Hayder. He's a man with trousers on. 2nd place for him. Another man very, very happy with that one. Good result for Zurich today. Great result for Zurich. 2 men on the podium. And the man who's about to take the top step is this man, Borges Arzo. A very, very happy man. He's got the Racing Unleashed steering wheel in front of him. Very, very happy. P1, that is confirmed for sure. No one is taking that away from him. They've got to take the wheel away from him. Unfortunately, the simulator won't work without it. But they're not taking the result away from him at all. He is a very, very happy man. If you enjoyed tonight's action, we're right back again next Friday. You've got 7 days, 8 days to wait. We go again with Silverstone. Challenger League, Friday evening. Make sure you tune in for that one. Racer League on the Saturday, midday. Make sure you tune in for that one. If you thought tonight was anything good, we've got some brilliant drivers next week to show you. Schmiedel, Sanchez. What can Ciro Zamba and David Seed do now they've made that step up? It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. And a fantastic watch. You will not want to miss it next week. We are Racing Unleashed. Thank you for watching tonight. Good night.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead, and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.